dark side.
2, 1, 0.
Should old acquaintance be?
No, I don't know the lyrics.
You spoiled it.
And
Yes,
a packet of scratchings.
Happy New Year, everybody! Happy New Year! It is indeed RetroUnlim Live 49. We're one away from the big 5-0, ladies and gentlemen. We're starting to get old now, but for now.
Starting to get repetitive.
Damn it, Daniel! You should have saved that story for our 69 special.
Oh, yes. Today is New Year's Day, of course. It certainly isn't the 18th of December, and I am Mr. Harold Rutherford-Yack. And with me today, hey. I have a variety of people, but first, I'm going to introduce my special guest co-host for the evening. It's Derek, aka CGR Undertow.
Hey, that's me. Hello, everyone. This is Derek. I'm here.
Hello.
Thanks for that rousing applause. There it is. There it is. That's what I've been waiting for. Thank you very much.
Very well deserved.
Yeah, thank you very much for coming on. We figured since you had a lot more time on your hands now, you were going to get a show on Amazon Prime like Jeremy Clarkson.
Yes, it's a very nice. It's a very nice way of saying since you're jobless, we thought you'd like to come on and talk about.
Well, your problem is you didn't assault any Irishmen before you left.
Yeah.
You had to leave gracefully, didn't you?
If anything, you guys got assaulted by YouTube.
You could at least punch Mark in the throat before you left. Or
I really should have let him have it.
PlayStation.
But no, I'm very happy to be here. This is cool. This is exciting. I've already learned a lot about Vegemite and Marmite and
Marmalade.
things I didn't even know.
Marmalade-flavoured Marmite.
Yes.
Can't wait to see what else I learn here tonight. This is going to be an adventure.
So Derek, is this the first time you've ever been on a live stream? Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm basically like 90 years old. I don't really know how anything works. So yeah, I don't think I've ever been on a live. I've been on podcasts, but never like a live type thing. So
it's funny you say you don't know how anything works, because looking at the picture in the background on the wall, obviously you don't know how a spirit level works.
Yeah. So hopefully hopefully you can see me and everything. I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm here, and I think that's what matters. In life, you don't really need to know how to do anything as long as you show up.
So presumably your New Year's resolution is to seek employment.
Yeah, basically my New Year's resolution is to not have to, panhandle. As long as that doesn't happen, I think it will have been a good year.
So I did that with my previous job. I didn't know what I was doing, but I showed up.
Yeah.
It didn't work out, unfortunately. I don't know why. I had no idea.
McDonald's.
Yeah.
Derek, we can pay you to be a regular visitor on this stream. A guest, perhaps.
Hey, you know what? As long as you guys pay me. As much as I... Oh, should I not have said that I've been paid to be here tonight?
Well, we can pay you in dog biscuits. We can pay you in dog biscuits and pork scratchings. And certain other things as well that pork scratchings lead to.
Told you guys, I'm not cheap, but that'll work. That'll work.
It works for me.
Well, Derek, life's not cheap, but time is free. And so thank you for joining us tonight.
Absolutely, happy to be here.
Yes, but we do have one or two other people lurking around in the corner there. Let's see, who are we going to introduce first? Larry Bundy Jr. Welcome back. Oh, you're wearing the same clothes as you did last week.
I brought my own line.
Stinky bastards.
It's funny that. Well, I want to take them off, but you wouldn't let me. So.
Oh, yes.
I would have first naked New Year's special.
Yeah, little do you know that Larry is actually here in my room. I'm keeping him in my wardrobe.
Yes.
That's a big wardrobe.
He lured me in with Toblerones.
Yes, with all my,
he can open the door with hoofs.
with all my boxes of Thai dip.
Get it with your teeth.
Yes, well, thank you for joining us once again.
Yeah, thank you.
Heading forward through time to join us on today, New Year's Day, which isn't the 18th of December, and that joke died in the last stream, so I won't say it again, possibly.
All right.
So, it's an honour to have you on the show yet again. Thank you. We also have...
Awkward pause.
Yes, no reaction to that.
Oh, me? You talked to me? Sorry.
Yes.
Oh, I do apologise. Sorry, I thought you talked to Derek. I'm not used to this gratitude of attending this show. So.
Derek, this is the crash course in live stream failure.
Yes. Don't worry, it's going to be edited, all of this. So, Chris, welcome back.
Hello.
How's it been since Christmas?
Well, clear, I haven't changed my shirt since Christmas, so I've taken the time to sort of like completely make the entire exact same setting and dress, and I haven't grown my hair since Christmas Day to look exactly the same. And
To be fair, it's only been a week. How much would your hair grow?
Well, yeah, there you go. It doesn't grow a lot.
See, Chris, that is the magic of the continuity men that we have here at RetroUnlim.com.
It is. And look, even Dave and Larry, Larry's too modest, he didn't say it, but even he has taken the trouble to do exactly the same as me. Even left his unwrapped presents in the background of Tie Dip.
Apparently, Chris, you haven't turned the light on in your room for a week.
No, sorry, I better do that now. There we go. Right.
Hey, hold on a minute.
Now it's become our Halloween special.
Do you still have the guitar?
Oh, I've still got the guitar.
Yeah.
That's still here. And and even in the interim of having the week between Christmas Day and New Year's Day, which it is now, or Eve, I still haven't learned to play.
Oh yeah.
So, there you go.
Dave Lister.
I was going to say Dave Lister.
Yes,
and
Happy New Year from the Bug.
Happy New Year, Bug, and Happy New Year, everybody out there in live stream land. But who else is new? We've got Dave. Hello, Dave. How's it
You're just lucky you caught me because I've just come back from the town centre and I did what Larry said and made a fairy liquid bomb for the fountains.
All right. And what happened?
Well, nothing because I'm lying.
Oh.
But I tell you what, on real, non-18th of December New Year's Day, I might actually have to.
Please do that.
You've got to film it as well. Otherwise, we won't believe
Yeah,
you.
further incriminate myself from giving them proof on the internet.
Oh, come on, you only live once. I said you only live once.
I would, but
Do
I'm
it.
probably on actual non-18th of December New Year's Day in the town I live in, I wouldn't be able to get close to the fountain. There'd be too many pissed-up student kids urinating in it. And I wish I could say that wasn't a true story. Ah, Bristol.
Oh, there you go, Bristol News, everybody. A fantastic place to visit for your holidays this New Year. Not Christmas, but New Year, because it's New Year now.
No, you mean now?
Yeah,
Visit
yeah,
now.
now. Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck getting a fucking cab.
I'm completely confused. So, Dan is back. Oh, and he's got his Guinness-flavoured Marmite.
I've just discovered this.
It doesn't exist anymore. It was a one-off.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well,
They got rid of extra mature Marmite as well, which I'm a little bit annoyed about.
Well, couldn't you make your own?
Yeah, but you just make extra mature Marmite by putting a little bit more normal Marmite on it.
Or you just bury it in the garden and wait a couple of years before you eat it.
Anyway, I'm going to turn...
You just eat the whole barrel and then wait 24 hours.
It's me now!
Hey! So, JL76 Gaming, thank you for joining us again. Funnily enough, before I let you speak there, John, everybody who was in the last show, +1, is back. Isn't that weird? Isn't that very, very strange?
What are the chances of that happening?
Yeah, 1 in a
Sat
million.
here and continued talking the whole time.
It
Yeah.
looks like Wayne's Basement, only that's not Wayne's Basement. That's weird. Hey, Garth, that was a haiku. Sorry.
Yes. So, before we go any further, any New Year's resolutions you'd like to get out of the way?
Yes,
Yes,
I've got to eat more and drink more. Yes.
Otherwise known as carry on being Scottish.
Yes. Very, very good. Happy Hogmanay.
Did that have Barbara Windsor in it?
I'm gonna eat less pork scratchings.
Yeah, because clearly they failed you. That's not a pork scratching. That looks like someone dug up ginger root.
Look, I know what pork scratching is, yeah?
Yeah,
That's pork scratching.
that looks like a zombie's ear.
Yeah.
Happy New Year! Yeah, okay. So, yes, welcome everybody, and welcome to the new year. This is indeed 2016. Doesn't it feel really weird to be in a new year?
It's like we're living in the future.
Yes, as if we have some sort of time machine that we can go forward from the 18th of December to the 1st of January. Isn't that great? So, over there we have our special guest co-host for the evening. It's Derek from RetroUnlim. So, I believe you have some dirt to dish on a certain incident that may or may not have happened last year, regarding CGR and RetroUnlim. Or is that too upsetting to recount, Derek?
I mean, there's been a lot of upsetting things on a daily basis at Classic Game Room. You're gonna have to be more specific. I don't know what horrific
How
event.
about you give us a top 10?
The episode where Mark absolutely murdered Dave to become the supreme leader of Game Room.
Oh,
It was like the Imperial Rule, wasn't it?
yeah, he kind of murders a lot of people, so it's like it's hard to. I mean, he's murdered me a couple times. I'm only now recently getting better.
Well,
So-
by the way.
Yeah, but yeah. So I mean, today was actually my last day there.
Oh,
Yeah. So,
January the 1st. So you lied then. It's a couple of days afterwards.
well, yeah. So
So basically, then you actually got almost 2 weeks extra employment than you thought you would.
yeah, they're actually paying me pretty well, so I can't complain. They're
Was it a good severance package?
it's a nice. Yep. And it doesn't include any future beatings, which is nice.
Did you get a clock?
I did. I got a free. I got some free CGR merch. Unfortunately, we never made beer clocks, but I got shirts and all kind of crap. So
The mistake you made there, Derek, was not putting Clone in your replacement. You see, he should have taken the beatings.
yeah, he was very rarely ever actually there. It turns out when you offer a clone employment, what you're really doing is paying someone money to do nothing. The clone. I mean, I don't want to turn this into a racist thing, but clones are pretty worthless. If you ever see one.
Well, we all saw Star Wars Episode 2.
I was just going to say you beat me to it. Yeah, they made a movie about it.
Yeah, did not Clone have an Australian accent as well?
Yeah, clones have no work ethic, and they're just a really lousy group of.
Yeah.
They're not even people, which is the
At
problem.
least you could use them to chuck a sick day.
Yeah.
Are they like the Judge Dredd clones and that, where if you don't bake them properly, they come out all sort of melty and shit?
That's the thing. You can try to clone something, but then the matter breaks down. I think that's what happened at Classic Game Room a lot. Is we had a faulty cloner, and also Mark was drunk most of the time, and you shouldn't drink while operating cloning machinery. It turns out.
Ah.
The
And the
code
irony, thanks to Classic Games Room, look how many YouTube channels actually tried to clone you.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the Angry Video Game Nerd tried it, and look at the Alright Gamer.
I'll just say that it's very flattering and it's very nice that other people came along and stole our place. Thank you very much, YouTube.
Oh, you swines.
I suppose the thing with clones is you're always going to have copyright infringement.
Yeah.
But you know what? You went wrong, Classic Game Room. You should have had an Order 66.
Yeah, well,
you go around murdering 8-year-olds.
I always pushed for weaponizing Classic Game Room, but it turns out there are legal issues there.
Oh.
Wait, hold on a minute. You live in the United States. You can get guns and things.
You're right. Exactly. Which is why I really thought it would go. I thought that would work, but turns out weaponizing a YouTube channel is frowned upon.
Don't offend
Stop Angry Joe. Sorry.
What was that, John? Sorry?
Don't offend we cloned in Scotland was a sheep. Called
Yeah,
Dolly.
did he die a horrific death?
Dollar a sheep.
It was
Yes. Taught you made to watch one of your videos, though.
Yeah. So Derek,
Yeah,
as an
it's true. Watching my videos is punishment for crime in some countries.
So Derek, as an employee of CGR, are you party to the business model that they had there? And is this the reason for the collapse? Were there some dodgy underhand dealings going on? Perhaps some corruption or fraud that you can tell us about?
Some hedge fund fiddling, if you
Yes.
will.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Classic Game Room's a pretty corrupt place. I mean, there's a lot of... It's basically like Star Wars, only less ethical. Is basically Classic Game Room.
What, so
No,
Disney
you know-
bought you as well, then?
Yeah, right. I wish Disney bought me, and my price would be very low. Unfortunately, they weren't buying.
So
No,
were you
I
the
mean-
Jar Jar Binks of the operation, were you?
Yeah,
Ooh,
basically.
Larry.
Yeah. I think that's how Mark viewed me, hence the beating. So, but, yeah. But yeah, no, Classic Game Room. I mean, I think a lot of people don't really realize that it is a business, it is a company, and if you know, if a lot of people I think had this assumption that it's just me and Mark hanging out making videos, but that's not really the case. It paid my rent. It was a job, you know. So when a company has its ups and downs, you know, yeah, there's money involved and there's business decisions that have to be made. So yeah, that's.
So, do you have meetings? Do you sit round a table and say, right, so we're going to do this? And
Yes.
this is how-
Which Jaguar game shall we review today?
Yeah. You know, it was actually I didn't really have meetings about anything. It was kind of just I would show up and whatever crap game someone had sent in that day, that usually fell to me. And yeah, it was pretty. For a company, it was actually a pretty casual environment. I just kind of did whatever I was told to do, and really whatever I wanted to do sometimes too. So
How
yeah.
many employees were there? I mean, behind the scenes as well and stuff.
I mean, at our peak, there were actually quite a few. I think we had almost 20
Oh wow.
a few years ago. Yeah, that's the thing. It's a whole team of people. But you know, obviously, YouTube's made a lot of changes, and it made it really hard to sustain that kind of business. So.
Mm.
So what funded that? Was it mostly ad revenue from the videos on YouTube?
Yeah, most of our, I mean, especially in the early years, you know, when we first really started, it was like 2009, 2010, and it feels crazy to think back to that because it wasn't that long ago. But in terms of YouTube, it was an eternity ago, and we were really one of the only big fish in a very small pond. So,
Yes.
you know, we kind of did very well off ad revenue back in the day, and that's why we were able to grow. But nowadays, you look at YouTube, and it's a gigantic pond, and there's like a lot of little fish and like 2 or 3 sharks, and that's kind of the way YouTube's gone.
Yeah.
So it makes it really hard to sustain.
So in
But
those,
yeah.
sorry, I was just going to say in those days it was just you, the Nintendo nerd, and Larry, basically.
Yeah, yeah, really.
I'm just one of the fucking plankton at the bottom.
No, but I mean, yeah, YouTube's. It's really kind of unfortunate because now the crazy thing is when we started, you know, we had like professional equipment and that set us apart. But now it's like, and anyone has a phone in their pocket that shoots 4K. You know, like it's kind of liberated the technology to do this. So now everyone does it, and it kind of. I mean, in a way, that's a good thing, right? But it also makes it hard to sustain a business that way, I guess.
I'd imagine, though, because obviously it was a business model, you know, Classic Game Room, that every time one of these changes rolled out that, you know, I myself would always piss and moan about, but for you guys, you would literally groan because it would just have massive repercussions on what you were doing, which is really, Google, you've just done this.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't really privy to all of the actually, I wasn't privy to most of the business talk, and largely that's because I didn't want to. I come from like a journalism background where like editorial and business were always separate, and I thought like if I'm paying attention to what's making money, I almost don't want to know. I just want to do the creative side and let that stuff take care of itself. But what I do know is that, you know, there are days I would go in and see Mark pretty upset over YouTube changes, and I mean, that's why a couple years ago we tried to completely get off of YouTube.
Yeah, I remember.
Oh,
that.
yes.
Yeah. That was Mark's idea, and it was a business initiative that they thought would kind of get us away from YouTube. But it turns out that it's really hard to get people who watch YouTube away from YouTube. So
yeah, they're really lazy people.
Yeah, it's really difficult.
Yeah, I think it's really, really sad that this business has basically gone to the wall. Is it true that it's still going to continue in a sort of part-time capacity, though?
I think so. To be honest with you, I think Mark's even having a hard time figuring out what to do with it moving forward. But from what I understand, he's going to continue kind of once in a while making videos and doing it more like a hobby again.
Yeah.
So I don't know how often he's going to post. It could be very rare. It could be like once a week or so, but it's certainly going to... The days of Classic Game Room being, you know, a daily show are certainly over.
I was a big fan of. Shows it off.
Derek, where can we see you in the future?
There you go. I got the DVD. The very
Hey,
first
there it
one.
is.
So yeah.
Yeah. So go on. Sorry, Derek.
No, that's okay. You know, it's looking at that DVD. That's, you know, Mark's been doing this since the year 2000 in some, like, his original show. So this is like 15 years of on and off. It wasn't running the whole time, but I can only imagine. Like, I've been super bummed about RetroUnlim shutting down. And
you should really say that on an English show, being super bummed.
I was, yeah, but but I can only imagine, like,
you've been gangbanged there. So.
But yeah, I can only imagine like what Mark's feeling, because it's been a lot longer for him. So he's been pretty upset about it too.
So when was it that you came on board with CGR?
I actually started with them in 2010. They brought me in as a writer, because all of my background is in journalism and writing. And they were looking to expand their website with some written reviews. And I got an email one day from someone who worked at Classic Game Room, just out of the blue, that I don't know how they found me, but I'd written for other sites, so maybe they'd found my work elsewhere. But they contacted me about coming in to write, and so I did that for a few months, and they liked my writing so much that they wanted to start a new channel and bring me in as the host. So that's May 2010 is when that happened.
Okay. So at that time, were you working as a freelance writer, and just this gig came up?
Yeah, it was totally by chance. I was freelancing and writing for a lot of other video game websites, and but I'm terrible at freelancing, so I was always hoping to land something permanent, something more stable. And but I sort of thought I'd have to relocate to do that, because everything in the States is like California or New York if you want to do that. But yeah, Classic Game Room out of the blue, and the thing is, I'd never even heard of Classic Game Room, because I was never a YouTube guy. So I just sort of went with it, and I had no idea what it would turn into.
See, the early days of YouTube, from what I remember, going back on back in my day rants. Yeah, the start of YouTube, basically all I remember, gaming-wise, was just like one or two people, and CGR was one of those guys. So I believe this is one of those cases where if you're one of the first guys to jump on the YouTube bandwagon and really run with that ball, then you're going to see some success, which is kind of why it's really upsetting to see CGR fold.
Yeah. No, and you know, in the early days, we did really well. I mean, well enough that they could bring me in and bring in a whole staff of people full time, and you know, it was a career for 6 years for us. So yeah, we did really well. But and it's not only that YouTube changed; it's kind of the audience changed a lot too. It's, you know, in the early days when we were doing what we do, people wanted to see that. But now it's like the only thing that really gets traffic on YouTube. It's like everyone's moved on to like streaming and Let's Plays and these things, and you know, I would get really frustrated sometimes when I would spend like weeks on one video, scripting it and editing it and getting all the shots and trying to do something that I thought was really smart and fun, and then some Let's Play would stream something for an hour and get 10 times the views. But that's kind of the way the audience shifted, and that, I think, more than anything played an even larger role in Classic Game Room's struggles. So.
Yeah. So did you?
That's all right then. I'm glad I never do Let's Plays.
So Derek, did you actually ever consider moving to the dark side and going into Let's Plays and live streaming?
It's just something that I don't. I mean, I don't really watch them, so I don't I can't really relate to, like, I wouldn't even know what to do. You know, I was sort of so caught up in what we did at Classic Game Room, and you know what my background is just writing. So it's something that I don't even know. I wouldn't even know where to begin. Someone tweeted me and said, Derek, you should do webcam LPs, and I felt like a 90-year-old man because I had no idea what he was talking about. I said, what, is that some kind of dance routine? I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. I'm open to do anything that'll make me money. So is there money in it? I'll do it.
Have you ever considered going alone now? I mean, you've obviously built up a fan base from your presence on Classic Game. So you could easily... So you would get quite a large following straight away if you went alone.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd want to do YouTube anymore. It just seems like something that's kind of a dead-end street, and a lot of it seems like if you're going to make it on YouTube, a lot of it just seems like it's random luck, what makes it and what doesn't. I used to be really naive and think that if the quality of your content was really good, that you would make it and you'd be all right. But it's become more and more the case that I'm not sure the quality of content matters. It's a mixture of things, something at the right time that makes a lot of these YouTube channels work. So
I think it's a mixture of that, of what you say. There is an element of luck in it.
Yeah.
But it's clear to me when I see certain channels, the quality of the stuff they produce, it gets rewards because people recognise the quality they make.
Yeah.
That I do see that still, and I've been doing it for similar to you, Dave. You talk about being a writer. That's what I started out as well. That I was doing product review writing for websites like Chow and Do You. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Too.
And I got invited to start writing for a website called the Pixel Empire. It's a small-time website. It's not a big thing, and it wasn't for money. It's not for money. It's just for the enjoyment of writing. And doing that got me onto YouTube because we were linking videos that we found on YouTube onto the reviews we were writing, and we were watching some, and it was Dave, and Dave knows this anyway. I came across one of Dave's videos, and I thought, you know what? I
can do better than that.
Can you still remember what one it was, out of curiosity?
What video it was?
Yeah.
I don't. I think.
So it can't have had that big an impact on you.
It was a talk one. It was a talky video. It wasn't one of your gameplays. It was a talky video. If you're
I don't do gameplay, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, no, that and Benway, and I thought, well, I could do this, and then I just thought, well, let's do it, just for a laugh. It wasn't for money. It was just, you know.
And then I allowed you on my doohickey.
Yeah, you did. Yes. Yes. But
that means floor. So that's not. Yeah, sorry, that's not like some euphemism for prison sex or something.
So, Derek, much as Chris was kind of influenced by Dave over there, who were your influences when you were first coming onto YouTube, would you say? Who were the people that you looked up to and thought, that's the model? Apart from Mark, obviously. The other guys out there in the wider world of YouTube, and indeed on the internet, sort of, I guess, the writers as well, if there's any particular writers out there that you looked up to.
It sounds so weird, and maybe it would... I didn't watch any YouTube when I started on YouTube, and I had no video background at all. My sort of at the time, how I got my gaming news was I would read a lot of the major websites. So IGN, IGN at the time had a really good Nintendo team that I liked to read. Matt Casamassina I thought was really good. Matt Bozon. They had a really good Nintendo team at the start of the Wii, end of the GameCube era. That I thought they were really good, and I sort of started to read them when I was in college, and I was going to school for journalism, and I thought, man, this is a bad time for newspapers and for print media. I need to start looking online, and that's sort of how I got into writing online and writing about video games. But yeah, YouTube was a totally new thing to me, and when they brought me in to do it, I had no idea how to do it. It took me years to really figure out, because what I was doing in the beginning was just writing articles and then reading them on the video, because that was all I knew how to do.
Mm-hmm.
Is there like a period of self-education then, where you basically had to sit down and just watch a lot of YouTube?
Yeah, I mean, well, that might have helped, but I didn't even do that.
Hey!
I mean, I really just didn't watch much YouTube at all, and so for me, learning was just kind of trial by fire. I would try stuff.
On the job training.
And it sounded stilted for years. It sounded like a guy reading, which is what it was for a long time. But then I figured out that YouTube's a lot less about kind of that old school writing journalism thing than just being entertaining and having part of that in it. So I started to just be myself. And what myself is, I'm just like a guy who likes cartoons and like, you know, wacky things. Like I think the biggest influence on CGR Undertow isn't even YouTube stuff. It was just like Ren and Stimpy, and
Good man.
you know, things like that I took from things that I loved and that I thought were funny, and kind of incorporating them into what I was doing at work and trying to, you know, I just had this idea that eventually, if I always had this idea that if video game reviews. If video games are supposed to be fun, then why can't video game reviews be fun? And that was sort of, especially in the later years of Undertow, where I wanted to take it, you know? Doing wacky, crazy, sometimes horror movie video game reviews.
Yeah, that's good, because if you've got this canvas, you might as well go and use it and do something crazy and try and stand out.
No, I agree. I agree with that anyway, because people who are not necessarily into games will find the video entertaining then as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I always thought that was a good thing, is if someone who didn't even play video games told me they liked my videos, then I thought I was doing my job right. Because
it's persona of the person you're watching over content to some degree.
Absolutely. Yeah. YouTube is such a cult of personality, and that's what took me years to learn too, is that people don't even really care about the content. It's the personality delivering it. So when I figured that out, it became a lot. That's when I think Undertow really hit its stride, is when I figured out that they're not necessarily coming for this video game. They're coming to see a personality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of how PewDiePie's gone, isn't it? Really, it's the personality, not what the subject matter is.
Well, I mean, it's the same with most big YouTubers, really. No one looks up Cad Icarus stuff and JonTron stuff. They just watch the next video that gets uploaded. You need to get into the person, don't you, rather than the video game.
For me, I'm different. I actually like to watch it for the content, what you're reviewing.
You have to be different, don't you?
Yes, I'm sorry, but I don't. Like, PewDiePie, I don't like PewDiePie and any of these guys. I just don't like
Well, that's because you're over 12. That's why nobody likes PewDiePie over 12.
Isn't it just an easy answer? Just say it's a rich mixture. You know, if you combine an interesting subject matter with something specific to a person, and then you have your personality stamped on that,
yes,
winner.
I do think there's now a new generation of YouTube viewers as well. I mean, back in the early days, like Fred was like the #1 YouTube channel, and he sort of died, didn't he? Because his audience grew up and thought, "Why am I watching this shit?" Exactly. So, but yeah, it's because if you target to a young audience, I think it's a lot harder. At least we've got, most of us, we've got an older audience, so we don't have to worry about them going.
I think characters get old as well, don't they? I mean, if generally most of us are ourselves, yeah? So, I think...
I'm actually Frederick Woolston, actually.
Oh, I knew you were, really. I wasn't going to say, but...
I didn't want anybody to know that.
let the bag slip there. But characters have a finite lifespan, don't they? And after a while, people go, yeah, AVGN is a great example. As he sort of slackened off, AVGN is really gone now. He's now James.
I think it's lethargy as well, that they get tired of the same thing over and over. A bit like The Simpsons, really.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody loved The Simpsons in the early days. It's not that it's gone bad. It's just people are just tired of it.
Yeah, it has a finite lifespan.
Yeah.
I mean, I compared much of what we did on YouTube to pro wrestling in a way, because I think characters have to change in wrestling, where they get stale and the audience gets complacent. And so I've always thought of, it's so weird. Maybe this is why we didn't make it, but I always looked at pro wrestling for lessons in YouTube. And I mean, even I thought like one of the reasons we made it at CGR Undertow and did so well is because in wrestling there's this thing where the established star puts over the young guy. And I had Mark putting me over at the beginning saying, hey, here's CGR Undertow. I really owe a lot of the success of Undertow not only to my work, but to having Mark's kind of brand attached to it. So yeah, I think, but yeah, your characters, it was really weird because you have to develop a character on YouTube, and you have to play to it a little bit. But then, like you said, it can also get stale, and you have to constantly figure out new. I don't want to call it shtick, but that's really what it is. You have to add to your shtick and keep it interesting.
Basically, you have to be the Undertaker and not Triple H.
Exactly.
Yeah, the Undertow taker. Yeah.
The Undertaker.
So, Derek, how much of the character that we see on CGI Undertow was you, and how much of it was a character?
I would say it was 30% me, 30% Ren Hoek, and 30% Master Shake from Aqua Teen. So yeah,
yes.
Yeah, I mean basically the voice I was using on Undertow was just me trying to do a bad Master Shake impression.
Nah, sorry, I can't do it.
So yeah, it was just when I go off like this and start talking, on Undertow, that was just me doing Master Shake, trying to figure out if Master Shake reviewed video games. This is how he did.
That must really rip your throat out after a couple of takes, though.
Oh god, yeah, doing that for 8 hours a day was just brutal. But yeah, I just thought, that's a way to take, but it's still very much me, but it just turned up and with some like different things that I think are funny thrown in is basically where I kind of started to take it. And I really thought there was some longevity in the idea of like, I wanted to do reviews that were like little movies. And those were the ones that I had the most fun doing, like tying a narrative into gaming critique and trying to do something different. I think that, I don't know, I always thought that was where Undertow was at its best.
Excuse me. Derek, what was your best video to make? Best review?
Your best review.
Best review, best video. No?
Derek, hello? Can you hear us?
Oh, yeah. I can hear you.
Yes.
I refuse to answer that question.
Oh, I thought that was a question for someone else. Is that for me?
No, for you, Derek. What was your best video to make?
I think you just got thrown by your Scottish accent.
Somebody translate.
It's right, Derek. If you look at the bottom of the screen, there's a button for subtitles.
Great. I think my favorite one was probably the Sonic Boom video we did. In that video, I had to review Sonic Boom, which was this game that, I mean, I'm sure you guys know, it got panned.
Rise of Lyric, yeah.
Yeah, it almost killed Sega, but, kind of did in a way.
Nothing kills Sega. Have we not learned that from the 90s?
Right. They're like the cockroach of gaming. But, so I had to review it, but there was all this negative hype attached to the game. And so I expected it to be the worst thing that I'd ever played. But when I played it, it wasn't any worse than any other bad Sonic game, and it was actually better than a lot of the games I reviewed at CGR. So I thought, there's this like groupthink going on here where people hear that it's terrible, they've never played it, but since everyone says it's terrible, they say it's terrible.
The bandwagon mentality.
Yeah, so when I reviewed the game, I wanted to make some commentary on that, and I always thought, too, like, when you're reviewing a game, so many people go into such detail that it kind of does a lot of the legwork for me. I don't need to go into detail over every little aspect of the gameplay. I can sort of paint with a broader brush and make general comments about the game, and at the same time be able to do, like I said, like a narrative within the critique, if that makes sense. Like, review a game by telling a story. And Sonic Boom, I got to do that, and it worked really well because there was a character in that review that was the internet, and the internet was trying to get me to conform to the narrative, and I didn't want to. But what I find out in that review is that you can't escape the internet. So, but I think that was one I was really proud of. I did one for Remington Super Slam Hunting that was really good because for that one, the whole goal, I want to see if I can do a video game review that actually scares people. And so I wanted to do the most twisted, like, warped Ren and Stimpy surreal thing that I could do. And so that's what the Remington Super Slam Hunting turned into. Those are two that I was really proud of, but I mean, I don't know. The ones that I like the most are the ones that I actually got to spend time on. And unfortunately, there were a lot of videos that, when you had to do the schedule we had, I didn't have as much time as I would have liked.
Yeah.
You at least get Sunday off.
Yeah, I would get. I mean, I had weekends off, but then by the time I would get home, the last thing I wanted to do was look at a video game. Like I was burnout.
I could still remember the first video I watched before, because I didn't even know there was an Undertow at one point, and this is probably no, I think I had a YouTube channel at this point, but it was when you reviewed Modern Warfare 3 on the Wii. Do you remember that?
I do not remember.
All I remember watching it was because these people about me. I love the Wii. I'm always vehemently defended it, but I just remember watching it and you were saying like, it's this, it's that, it's this. It's conflicted because it's good, but there's also bits of it are really, really rubbish. And I was like, no, how dare you say that about a game I love? And then I got to the end of it and just remember thinking, actually, he put out a perfect, argument, descriptive term. And I just didn't know this bloke existed. I'm watching.
Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate that.
So, Derek, were there actually any games that you started writing for, but you found it so hard there was not enough to say about the game that you had to stop writing your script and go on to do something else? And perhaps maybe that script is still kicking around.
Did you just do a Rolf Harris there, by the way?
Yeah, he doesn't know who Rolf Harris is.
Well, we won't enlighten him.
Yes, incidentally, I did do a Rolf Harris.
I felt some kids.
Yeah, ironically, you're not in prison, Yakum.
Yes, but they're coming for me after this, on New Year's Day, which is actually not the 18th. So yes, Derek, the question was, any games that you started writing a script for but had to stop because you found it too hard for one reason or other?
No, the only games that I ever abandoned mid-review were ones that I was afraid of the reaction that I would get, and it was only a handful, and usually it was like a Sonic game. Because they're so, and I don't mean to pick on Sonic fans, but they're one fan base where it's like if you say anything critical about a Sonic game, you are the devil incarnate. How dare you say?
No matter how crap.
No matter how bad it is, no matter how dire the situation Sega is in because of these lousy games, they just do not take criticism very well.
Sonic and the Black Knight, we're looking directly at you.
Yeah. So I mean.
So I liked that game.
It's the fanboyism mentality, though, isn't it?
Yeah. So there were a couple games, and not many. I think in the whole run of Undertow, there were maybe 2 or 3 that I was starting to review and looked at where the review was heading and decided it's not worth the trouble that it's going to get in the comments and dislikes and stuff. So, but never because I didn't know what to say. I always, and maybe this was a problem with Undertow to some people, but I always thought it was what made us unique is that I always thought every game had a story to tell, even if the story wasn't even about that game. So a lot of times I'd review a Wii game and end up talking more about the Wii in general because I thought this game is more. What's interesting about this game isn't the game itself; it's the larger problem that it's pointing to on the Wii. So there was always something for me to talk about.
Isn't it safe to say that obviously YouTube is quite a large chunk of YouTube is pack-minded mentality? So to some degree, you would have going to get some flack anyway, because you were under the Classic Game Room banner, and people therefore weren't even going to give you a chance because it was just like, we fear change. What's this?
I had to deal with. I mean, I loved 90% of the Classic Game Room audience, but there was a portion of the audience that because I wasn't marked, it just seemed like nothing I would ever do would be good to them, and like
they weren't even watching your material. They were just, like I said, pack-minded mentality and just went, "Use someone else."
They made a preconception, and then it's one of these, when you get a lot of closed-minded people, they make a preconception, they never shift from it, and that's that. And unfortunately, well, as we all know, opinion is subjective. So people have different opinions, and we have things like a movie or a game can get like 99 plaudits throughout reviews, but there's always 1 or 2 people that will turn around and say, no, it's a load of shit.
That was one thing I discovered before I realised don't fight with trolls, but I once entered into an argument a few years ago, and I've never forgotten it, where someone said, how do you like this game? It's shit. And all I said in the comment was, taste is subjective. And they went, if you say so. And then I went, no, taste is subjective. Yeah, whatever. No, seriously, taste is subjective. Yeah, whatever. And I'm just like, Dave, don't fucking feed him. But it is. It's subjective. Everyone liked the same thing. It'd be like living in Wales.
Yeah.
What's that supposed to mean?
Yeah.
Sorry.
At least you didn't say Scotland.
Yeah.
No, that's because I like Scotland, because John lives there.
A good
So
tactic.
just ghastly tales.
Well saved.
A good
Because he
tactic
knows
I
everybody who
found.
lives there can beat him up. That's fine.
Yeah, pretty much. John, why don't you ask him for Desert Island Games?
Oh, yes.
Oh yeah.
You would have to understand me first.
That's right. We can have someone in the bottom right-hand corner, like on, halfway through the preview channel to sign languages.
Derek, I have to ask you if you would like to be on Desert Island Games, which is my podcast show. Would you like to do it?
I'll do. Yeah. Okay.
You might
let's
want
do
to
it.
explain the context.
Oh, the concept is you pick 8 games you bring on a desert island, 8 games, 1 book, and 1 luxury item that you bring on a desert island if you were stranded.
All right. Will there be girls there?
Yes.
That's your luxury item.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's the thing is I don't have a lot to do, you guys, right now. So I'm open to do. I don't care. I'll do anything.
We'll talk to you after the show. Get it organised.
Okay, cool. But like going back to what you'd said about people making up their mind about things, I think it also ties into the cult of personality on YouTube we were talking about, where it didn't matter. And this wasn't just me, because we had other contributors on Undertow and other reviewers, and they all face the same thing, where it's like if they're not, like, Classic Game Room is Mark, and if it's not Mark, we don't want to see it. And they're I think eventually I kind of got through to a lot of those people, but especially at the beginning, when I didn't know what I was doing, they saw those early videos, made up their mind, and didn't come back at all to give it a chance.
But you persevered. I mean, it must have been quite disheartening at the start.
It was.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people aren't very nice on YouTube. I found out early.
Like what we all say,
You should go kill yourself.
Yeah.
Someone the ability to hide behind a monitor, and they all become warriors.
Yeah, and I actually had this theory that if I would find these bad comments about me, these really horrible things, and I found that if I replied to them, that I always got this back. Oh, I was just kidding. You're great. I'm such a big fan.
Yeah.
It's like it's the anonymity that lets them.
Yeah.
They're playing a character too, I think. YouTube.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Yeah.
So don't expect it to
It's a
answer
bit
back.
autistic, yeah.
Yeah. It's the law of the fucktard, isn't it? It's the.
It really.
I think to some degree, though, as well, what people probably don't realise with stuff, because you've explained it, and said that it was a business and stuff. That people don't understand that it was something that, Mark, he would want to expand the brand into different areas. When they were like, oh, I fear change, I don't want this. Who are these new people? We just want Mark. But it's his job, it's his baby. Of course, he's not going to sit there and stay in one specific area. He's got to, push out, which involves bringing on people like you. But then, as we said, people just fear change.
I never understood the irony of people saying, I love Mark, I love Classic Game Room for Mark, so F everything except Mark, but not realizing that if you really loved Classic Game Room, you would support all of our ventures, because that helps Mark. Like watching Undertow, getting all these things helped Classic Game Room, which helped Mark. But and I don't want to sound like, I think by the end that was a pretty small percentage, but it was definitely something that, especially in the early years, was a struggle.
Yeah, but you got to look at it this way as well. I'm sure you have, but stuff like that it all comes down to chalking up to experience. And if anything, as as assholes some of these people were, experience is nothing but useful in the long run of things.
Yeah.
Basically, tolerating dicks can be beneficial.
Yeah.
I would like to say that if you get yourself, as you are sorted, Derek, and everything, I would love to see you back on YouTube doing something independent. I'm sure a lot of us would do as well.
I concur.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate that, you guys. If I could
have an incentive, if you do, I'll buy you a spirit level.
Where's the hug button on Google Hangouts? I'll hug all you guys.
Hug.
No, I appreciate that. I don't know if I'm gonna get back into video right away, because I kind of have to worry about finding something to pay the rent first.
Yeah.
But once I get everything sorted out, yeah, I'm definitely gonna miss it, making those videos, especially, like I said, the ones where I got to spend a couple days on and actually do something creative with. Those are the things I'm really gonna miss, and seeing the reaction from people. Some of the really weird videos that I did, I really got off on seeing like the comments like, what the F did I just watch? That's kind of what I started going for, is just trying to F with the perception of what a video
It's
game
alright,
review
you can say
is.
fuck.
I wanted to fuck
Yes.
with what. Yeah, and changing because there's such rigid. Gaming has become so rigid with what people define as like what a gamer is and what a game review is, and it sucks. It's so ridiculous.
It does. I had
One of
a
the worst forms of media that has to deal with it, to be perfectly honest.
I had a Facebook conversation with a person the other day who categorically defined something as a hardcore gamer, and he said some bollocks about hardcore gamers won't accept the Wii U as a gaming platform, and I was like, thanks. How are you defining hardcore gamer here? And this,
Them.
It's them, exactly. I was like, well, you don't know what them is, do you?
Well, yes, he plays Contra Hardcore.
But he was totally focused on 1 and 2 platforms. Like, well, okay, where did you start gaming? Oh, I started with the N64. I said, great, I started with the 8-bits and the Amstrad and the Spectrum era and the Nintendo, the original Nintendo.
Good man for slotting that in there, by the way.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's part of the era. Yeah, well. But he's categorically saying this is the hardcore game. No, I said there is no definition of hardcore gamer. You can't, some people could say you're a hardcore gamer because you play COD and Battlefield all the time. But then another hardcore gamer could say, oh, they're all into WoW or Minecraft or whatever. You can't define it like that. We're all gamers and we just have different levels of gaming. There's no definition of a hardcore gamer.
Mine is higher than yours.
I'm a hardcore gamer because I play 37 hours a week. Congratulations on being unemployed.
I haven't got time for you anymore because you're just not listening to what I'm saying. And he kept saying, oh, your friends. I said, well, what are you talking about my friends? I didn't even state nothing about my friends. I said, I watch and know lots of people who are in the video game community, and this is their definition of what you're saying, and it's bullshit. And you're like, oh, no, this is definitely, I've been gaming for, oh, yeah, whatever, mate. I've had enough of you. But again, opinion, subjective, but some people just cannot be argued with. And
Who was it?
It was somebody on this
it was
stream.
some random on one of my Facebook streams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, brilliant. Okay, so we're actually going to move a little bit away from CGI in just a moment, but I'm being asked, Derek, to ask you, what did Mark say on his way out?
I hope he just left the building, hopefully.
Well, okay, so yeah, today was actually, I had to go today to pick up some stuff, so it was my last time seeing Mark at the office. And it was actually,
Is it really upsetting? You can be honest.
It was a pretty emotional day, actually. Mark's actually a lot like we've been talking about, you play a character, so people see Mark on YouTube and think that's Mark, but there's actually a lot more to Mark than just the YouTube character.
Oh, we were lucky enough to have him on the stream.
Yeah, cool, yeah. But so yeah, he's been pretty emotional about all this, but he really opened up with me today, and we hugged and everything, and he actually said something that was really nice. He said that the greatest thing about Undertow was that he felt like I had gotten better as the years went on at doing video, which was a really nice compliment coming from him. So, but it was a pretty emotional moment, actually.
Yeah, I'd concur with that, actually. Yeah.
Derek, see if I was you and it was my last day in work, I would be in the pub.
Yeah, there's still time after this stream.
Go to the pub, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, New Year's Day.
And New Year's Day, yeah.
Yeah, it's the day for it.
Actually, don't go to the pub, because if it's New Year's Day, good luck, A, getting a cab, and B, actually getting anywhere near the bar.
Yes. I don't know, it might be a lot more lax in America.
Well, no, we'll be alright, because let's be honest, it's the 18th of December. Go and get lost, mate. Go and get absolutely bollocks.
Sorry, I forgot to get... Larry, what on earth are you doing there?
He's drawing on my face.
Larry, do that thing where you wear a wolf's head.
That's very childish.
Wolf's head.
Remember when you put you have animals on it over the top of your face?
That's I have to open up Steam.
You still owe me an intro with one of those, by the way.
Yeah, I know. I have to do that
How
soon.
do your glasses stay on your face when they don't even touch your ear?
It's supposed to be Devil Harry Potter.
Yep.
No, because in Larry's defense, he can act.
Hello. Well, I play Hannibal Lecter in a movie, so, an internet movie.
Well, you have been in a movie, let's not forget.
I've been in a couple of movies, but yeah.
Oh, go on.
You
Tell
don't
us
want
about
to
them.
boast.
Oh no, there's nothing movies, just there's TV movies and stuff like that. Nothing special.
Well, you've been on TV shows, haven't you?
Yeah,
On obscure cable channels.
yeah. It's 12:30 in the night, and
Yeah, but let's be honest, that's when all gamers are up anyway, aren't they?
yeah.
You get blown up in Game Child.
No, I didn't die. I didn't die.
Oh, you didn't die in Game Child. I forgot.
In the continuity. In the canon of
Mm,
Game Child for Game Child 2.
yeah.
The Super Game Child.
Game Child Ultra X.
Yeah. Game Child Advance. Right, so after that little intermission there, Derek, hey, thank you once again for being on this show with us on New Year's Day. It's a pleasure to have you here.
It's a blast.
Anything better to do?
Yeah. No,
What's he doing there?
But also, hey,
calm down,
Turn
children.
into people just having a face-off with crayons.
Yes, calm down, children. There'll be plenty of time for that afterwards. See, this is what happens on New Year's Day. Try and relax with the family, and the kids are running riot. Ugh.
Right.
Boy, kids
The
are
kids are
running riot.
running rock. What, your children are pushing crack?
What?
You said the kids are running riot. So
Riot.
Riot
Kids
is
are
telling
running
us,
riot.
your kids were freebasing.
I have no idea what that means. This is all going straight over my head. Right. Thank you for that. That was so
Your
enlightening.
horns.
That was poke scratching. Okay. So-
That's gross.
So, Derek, can we just sort of move on a little bit from Classic Game Room? Because, jeez!
Boom! Boom!
Take two.
Settle down, children. Settle down. Can we just move on a little bit from Classic Game Room and
Sure.
concentrate?
Can I just say real quick, if anyone's watching that is a Classic Game Room fan, because to this point I've been talking a lot about what went wrong and things, but I just want to say that Classic Game Room was by far one of the greatest experiences of my life. Going there every day and working there was amazing, and I couldn't have done it without everyone watching. So thank you so much for doing that, and I don't know, it meant a lot to me, and to be able to do that was really thanks to the people who watched. So thank you so much for all the letters and everything. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
Well,
that's
well said. Well said.
yeah. So-
Hey.
Well, just remember, mate, this isn't necessarily a close part of your life. Definitely, you know that.
no,
Derek, I watched your last video and it was pretty damn awesome. It was quite emotional to watch actually.
Thank you. That was the goal. I wanted it to be emotional without being sappy, but
Yeah.
I think it.
I think you pulled it off great, mate. I did like the labyrinth bit at the end.
I'm so glad people got the labyrinth
I
reference.
love the labyrinth bit at the end.
Great.
That was I love that. Yeah. So,
I
yes,
thought that-
yes, he's Sarah.
I was trying to figure out how to end it, and I thought Labyrinth figured that out for me because that was the perfect end to a movie like that. So I thought I'm just gonna steal it. So.
I'm never gonna watch Labyrinth again because every time I'm gonna see Hoggle, I'm gonna see Mega Man.
See, I can't watch Labyrinth as an adult because I saw it in the cinema when I was a young lad. But as an adult, I find the movie's just one entire advert for David Bowie's crotch.
oh, you stole that from somewhere, Dave. How did
I
that
did.
happen?
Yeah.
Are you?
How did his trousers or pants get through wardrobe? I mean, seriously, it was a U-rated movie, and it's basically just like, hey, I understand why all the models love you now, Bowie.
Urated, more like urinated.
Ooh.
Labyrinth is a great movie,
Of his
wanker.
chimera talents.
So yes, Derek, what sort of things will you take away from Classic Game Room? What sort of things would you like to go into?
Laptops.
As much as I could help myself to when no one was looking.
Apart from laptops and various office stationery.
Paper, copper piping.
Was there any office stationery? Were there Classic Game Room pens?
Yeah, there actually were. Yeah.
He's got the sign. He's nicked the sign out front. He's got it in his. He's got it behind the couch right now.
It's gonna be so sad when that sign comes down. I hope Mark films it because he could do something with that footage. But yeah, that sign's coming down soon, I think. So it's sad. It's sad.
It is. It's a sad day for YouTube and a sad day for the internet. For how many times can you argue that free content like that is infinitely more watchable and enjoyable than half the shit you see that you have to pay for on TV?
Yeah, but unfortunately, it turns out giving away all your content for free isn't a great business model.
No.
Yeah, that's just.
I have to give mine away for free because otherwise people would touch it with a fucking barge pole.
Yeah, that's simultaneously the best part and the worst part about YouTube. It's taking away a lot of the creators' stuff.
Simultaneously, the best part
money.
was open forum where people could share stuff. Simultaneously, the worst thing about YouTube was cough Google. Oh, sorry, where'd that come from?
Cough Google. So what would you like to move on to next, Derek?
Well, I mean, I've been talking about video games for my entire adult life to the extent that I am an adult, so it would seem foolish to change that. So I have a couple projects that may or may not come to fruition, but I actually had a discussion today with a writer I used to write with. I don't know if you guys ever heard of the site Infendo, but it was a Nintendo blog around the time of the Wii, and it was one of my first writing gigs, and the editor there has sort of kept in touch with me, and we're thinking about starting up something new. So we just got to figure out what exactly that is. But yeah, it's going to be gaming related to some degree, so it's really the only thing I know how to do. So.
But it's good that you do have, at least for those of us who watched you, loved your content. It's good to know that you have something to fall back on that is in the fold of what your fan base, would like. Because let's be honest, people are selfish in a sense, which is, and I don't mean that we've changed people, but got used to your content and stuff like that, enjoyed it. So it's nice to know that you're not necessarily going to go completely out of the field, if that makes sense.
No, not at all. I haven't actually said what I'm doing next because I don't want to make promises on things that don't come to fruition, but I'm definitely going to be, whatever I'm doing next, I'm going to be writing, at the very least, writing about video games and talking about video games, and I'll probably have a podcast where we talk about lots of things, but yeah, so if for people who liked Undertow and want to hear me just say nonsense in the future, yeah, I'm going to continue doing that, so hopefully people will come along for that ride too.
Okay, some more live streams like this, maybe?
Yeah, hey, this has been fun. I'm learning about England.
And Scotland.
And Scotland.
You had to put that one in there, didn't you?
Yes, struggling with the variety of British accents that we have.
You're welcome to come on an episode of our football podcast, and by football I mean soccer.
Yeah, we've got a new one to make soon, haven't we?
Well, I was talking to Brandon. I was like, Tangent Brandon wanted to do, and I agreed with him, which is a roundup of the Boxing Day games and Boxing Day evening.
Yeah, I tell you what, we'll do one in the New Year. Yeah.
I'm working New Year's. I hate New Year's, so I'm not working tonight, but
today is New Year's.
A day during the New Year, and then we'll have a good slag off at Chelsea.
Dave, get him on Slamcast.
You're a wrestling fan, aren't you?
Me? Yeah. Oh, huge wrestling fan. Huge wrestling.
Oh, we got there's another podcast I'm a member of, Slamcast, where we just review the week's wrestling.
Oh yeah, I'd love.
Look at everyone pouncing on him. We're gonna work you like a bastard.
We're gonna put you out.
I'll speak to you about that, Dave, as well.
Yeah, no, I love pro wrestling. It's weird to say that sometimes because not a lot of people do, but yeah.
Well, that's funny. Not so much now, but they brought me on as the straight guy who didn't like wrestling, and then that was like 2 years ago, and I've completely absorbed and absolutely sucked into it now, and absolutely love it. And I was the guy at the start just with this, that, blokes in tight pants, greased up, professional man hugging.
Maybe that's me, because I don't enjoy wrestling at all.
Now you're the gay guy.
I don't get it.
I love the girls.
So, well, what about pro wrestling made you a fan? Like, what element of it started?
It was more like the politics behind the scenes and stuff, and how big the company was, and all the little intricacies that went into running it, and that I like that. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the wrestling side, but it was just like kind of gave me a new appreciation of it, which was much like anything else. It's a proper company, and you only see one facet of it.
Yeah.
And so it's wrong for you to judge that, without knowing everything that goes into it, because then you realise there's a behemoth of people orchestrating the tiniest of events, because it's a multi-million-dollar business. So that's kind of what really got me into it. And then it was all the fights between the divas and some of the things that happened behind the scenes. And one of the highlights for me was last Christmas we had Nigel McGuinness on our cast.
Put it on eBay.
And that was just like, oh my God, a Ring of Honor bloke's on our podcast. He gave up 2 hours of his life. Who knew that the world was that small? And people always think there's such a big divide between them and you and that. He's like, no, come on. Like, holy shit.
So, you over there. Hey, you. Sorry, I've forgotten your name. Guy with the word Larry on your screen. What on earth are you doing?
I got bored and started drawing myself.
Can't see you anymore. Right, okay.
I'm working on to fix the bits where you can see him.
What did you say? She said, well, you did work on that, mate. It cost you 2 packets of scratchings and you got nowhere.
See, this is what Larry actually does when he's doing the podcast with Ashens. He just throws his name on screen.
I do. I just want to try and get some sort of recognition.
I think you got more of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hello.
Oh, welcome back, Larry. Hey.
Hello.
Yes, and welcome back to the stream. Just in case you nipped to the toilet for one reason or other. So, Derek, Derek, I'd like to drill you, if that's at all possible. We'd like to find out a little bit more about you. Sorry, my teeth are falling out. It is nearly midnight. So, no, sorry, hold on. Oh, forget it. Confused with the time machine thingy-majig. Never mind.
Almost a second.
So, what are your hobbies away from video games?
Well, I'm really into cartoons, like at an unhealthy level. Basically just a child. Like, the things I loved when I was little, at some point I guess I was supposed to grow out of them, I just didn't. So, like, I still love cartoons, and I'm really into, like, the sports I played when I was a kid, baseball in particular. And I guess, baseball. Love baseball, and, like, heavy music. I would say heavy music and cartoons are kind of like my 2 big things.
Favorite bands, music-wise?
My favorite bands? Oh, God.
Do you know the Mad Capsule Markets, Derek?
The who?
The Mad Capsule Markets.
The Who, they're a fantastic band.
No, I don't know. I'm really into, like, just old school metal, like heavy metal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Ooh.
So, yeah. I would say, yeah, that's probably
in other words, you're into the correct type of music. Sorry.
Yeah, right.
Indeed.
So, yeah, I would say heavy metal and cartoons are, like, most of what I do on any given day. And if it's nice out, I'll go play baseball. But that's pretty much it.
A bit like myself, apart from the baseball.
Well, actually, maybe that's why we never got into baseball in this country, in Britain, because it's never nice out.
Yeah, that's the thing. It has to be nice out for baseball.
Well, we've got cricket.
I'm gonna try and pan around my webcam. I'm gonna try and pan around my webcam and see if you like any of these bands.
So,
Oh, here we go.
If this works. The lights probably aren't going to be very good.
Is that an Iron Maiden poster?
Can you see them? Hang on,
It's dark. Let's put the light on.
I'm going to turn the light on.
The Blair Witch Project.
I need to send you that cup, Nova Bug. I keep forgetting.
Hang on.
The Iron Maiden mug.
Gordon Bennett.
Can you see them?
I see Iron Maiden. That's like, oh yeah, so many great bands there. Iron Maiden and Ghost are 2 of my favorite bands.
Hammer.
I can't see the...
Slipknot.
Not a big Slipknot guy, unfortunately. But
Grace there.
Fortunately. But, yeah, Iron Maiden is probably my 2nd favorite band ever.
Oh, who's the first?
I would say Megadeth is my favorite band ever.
Ooh, I'm going to see both of them this summer.
Have you been playing Fallout 4 this whole time?
No, I haven't been playing 4. He's playing Fallout 4.
Oh, okay.
Hello!
Is that?
That's my brother.
Happy New Year!
Happy New Year.
Don't talk to me.
Yeah, he's in the Fallout 4 mode. So we can't disturb him. He might kill me.
And I'm actually really into the new wave of British heavy metal, the scene in the late 70s and early 80s.
Motorhead.
So like Diamond Head.
Oh, Diamond Head. Yeah. Motorhead.
Angel Witch. You know.
One Direction.
One Direction.
Dan, that's what makes you beautiful.
So thank you guys for the new wave of British heavy metal. I appreciate
a bit of White Snake, Pink Floyd.
I seen Whitesnake last week in concert. Brilliant.
Oh really? You actually went?
Yes, I did.
Oh.
Did they break Tony Katane out of retirement?
No. Who?
You don't know Tony Katane is, and you said you like Whitesnake. Cool.
No, I didn't say no. I went and seen them. I don't. Apart from David Coverdale, I don't know what names.
They probably didn't break her out of retirement because she's batshit crazy. But
So Derek, can you tell us about your favourite cartoons?
Oh man. So I guess it's sort of similar to music where I tend to go toward
my fingers crossed right now. Please say Rocco's Modern Life. Please say Rocco's Modern Life.
Yeah, so I tend to go toward the old stuff, and also
You're
the
an early Nicktoons guy.
Yeah, the early '90s Nicktoons really changed my life. So I would say Ren and Stimpy is my favorite ever, but I'm also a huge.
Did you ever whiz on the electric fence?
Oh my God, Sven Hook. I mean, I think if you watched Undertow, you can see the extent to which Ren and Stimpy had an impact on my life. Really, it's like in ways that I'm only now as an adult even figuring out.
That was the first video I ever saw of yours, actually. The one where you got the original artwork of you.
Yeah, which is actually on my wall over there.
I was crazy jealous of that, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, I've actually got personalized artwork made for me by the entire original team. I've got
Spunko.
That's so awesome.
Yeah, I've got John Kay, Jim Smith, Bob Camp. I think I need a Lynn Naylor piece.
There's my Spunko certificate.
You're in the lodge, the secret membership lodge. Beautiful.
Yeah, man.
What's your membership number?
69.
I haven't placed my body part yet on the bit I need to place my body part on.
Oh, really?
No,
There's one of my bits of artwork.
Oh, that's great.
And it's got loads of just random scribbles from like where he's working on cans about labels on the back, and then I've got my proper Ren and Stimpy dressed up as Fred and Barney Rubble.
You know, that cartoon was so important. It's a shame. I think some people just remember it for the fart jokes and the grossness, but it was
It wasn't a big. I forget now, but wasn't a big deal where the channel Nick started to pull the creative control completely away from them, and that's
well.
one
So
of the reasons why it ended.
Yeah, so halfway through the second season, they actually fired John Cristofalusi, who was the creator. And they fired him.
I've only got the first set on Blu-ray. I have DVD. I haven't got the later ones. I've only got these ones.
So if you watch the first 2 seasons of Ren and Stimpy, it's almost a completely different show to seasons 3, 4, and 5, because it was different people doing it. And with all due respect to those people, it was like a cover band. You know, they didn't really get what made Ren and Stimpy. You know, so some of the episodes were really good, but a lot of them really missed. They weren't as emotionally intense. And I think the animation wasn't as good either, but for me, I really missed the emotional intensity of the first 2 seasons.
Well, he said, didn't he, that like he wanted to make sure his animators always animated them in a different way. And when you watch them, there's just certain little aspects, like the way when Ren's eating the soap in Space Madness, like that as he goes in.
But it was also the dramatic pictures
anywhere else,
where they went from like almost stills that were really heavily detailed and overdrawn and almost dark, and then went straight back to like the regular animation. But you know, normally that couldn't be pulled off. You'd be like, hang on, you've just gone from 2 varying degrees of quality, but it was what you expected from Ren and Stimpy.
Well, Nickelodeon actually had to a lot of the animation studios where they sent these cartoons off to be animated couldn't get the Ren and Stimpy style, so they actually had to create a new studio, a new animation studio, specifically for Ren and Stimpy. And they eventually started to use that studio for a lot of their cartoons, but it was originally created just so that the quality of animation that was happening on Ren and Stimpy could actually be properly animated.
I have to ask, it's not a cartoon, but since you grew up on that specific time, on Nick, and I was actually at college at this point. But please tell me you love The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
I love
of course.
The Adventures of Pete and Pete.
Of course. It's such a 90s show, too. When you watch it now, there's something so time capsule about it that when you watch it, it feels so...
It starts right away with the theme tune, doesn't it? Like.
Oh my God, it's so 90s. And yeah, I mean, I was always really into the cartoon side of Nickelodeon, but I thought some of their live action stuff in the 90s was really fun
Clarissa
too.
explained it all.
I have a Mr. Tasty ice cream T-shirt that's custom made.
I really liked Salute Your Shorts too. I remember liking that a lot as a kid.
That wasn't that big over here, I don't think, Salute Your Shorts.
No, it only ran for, I think, a season and a half, actually.
I remember I was obsessed. It's a little bit later on, but I was obsessed with Kenan and Kel in such.
Oh,
a
I love
obsessive
Kenan
way.
and Kel.
And
bloody
I
hell.
love orange soda.
I started drinking orange soda, even though I wasn't really a fan. I did everything I could to do with them. And when we went to Universal
I like the little
Studios
shorts
in
they made
Orlando,
where he pretended to be French.
And I got told by my dad at the time, we're going to go around this way of the park. And we went around the way where it was like Terminator 2 ride, and we went all the way back. And then when we finally got back to Nickelodeon Studios, we saw the limo pull away and this black hand come out and waved goodbye. And I was like, no! And I didn't get to see
I
it.
remember being
Yeah,
so
but Dan,
disappointed.
it's the
Because
Terminator.
Derek, it was Nickelodeon was you all saw people on a set presenting the live actor the presenters between the live
that was
action
Universal
shows and the
Studios.
cartoons and stuff, and it was actually a studio in a Trocadero Centre downtown London, and I was so disappointed that when I went up there, because I knew that people could walk by and see this thing being filmed, but I was so disappointed when I went to the Trocadero Centre and the Nickelodeon studio in the UK was literally one room with a glass wall in front of it. So people in the shopping centre could see it. It was like,
Yeah.
but it's just one room.
Was that when the Sega Tower was inside it?
Yeah. And do you have to do the live action Aliens theme ride?
Yeah, I remember seeing that. Yeah. And
Yeah, what a fucking disappointment and a waste of 15 quid that was.
What do they call it? The Sega Sonic Drop or something?
Yeah.
Someone died.
That was weird.
Yeah, Sonic's career. Sorry.
A drop tower ride inside a building. That's how weird it was.
That's just asking for trouble. I mean, I know hindsight's a wonderful thing, but...
Do you remember these presenters? You weren't, Derek. I mean, from the,
Oh, yes.
Oh, the bird who ended up on the Girly Show. She was there, wasn't she? Not Sarah. Oh,
Sarah Michelle.
no, she got in trouble because she was presenting a kid show and you could clearly see a nipple ring through her top.
Oh, get a picture. No, don't get a picture of that.
What was her name?
You know what? I don't want to be part of any world where a nipple ring is a bad thing.
Oh, you've got Ren. I didn't see that.
Did I hear someone said they liked
Katie
Rocky?
Patrick. Was it Katie Patrick?
Yes. No.
Katie Patrick.
No,
Was
Katie
it-
Puckett was the one on the Girly Show. It was the other one, the one with red. Katie Puckett. Oh, this is getting confusing.
Oh, there were three of them, weren't
Guys, we can do some
there? Emma
research.
Cox.
Right, we can do some research on this later.
Oh, that was me, by the way, Derek. I loved and adored Rocko's Modern Life.
Rocco is such a smart cartoon. It was
It's
Modern
fantastic.
Life.
My favourite episode ever was when he went into Heifer. That sounded terrible, but you know what I mean.
yeah. You know, the amazing thing now is I just bought the whole complete series on DVD, so I've been watching through it again. And it's amazing that I actually relate to the cartoon more now, because so much of it was about adulthood and sort of the difficulties of transitioning into adulthood and modern life. Like, there are episodes where Rocco has to get to work and his car's broken. And as a kid, I wouldn't have related to that in the same way that I do now. Like, it's a really just well-written, really smart cartoon.
I was finding it really awkward with the cow had one eye that was just a little bit up.
Yeah.
I'm a novice with this kind of Nickelodeon cartoons. David's a specialist, I'm not. But the animation studio you speak of, Derek, was that the same animation studio that sort of did things like SpongeBob?
I think I know that they now use that studio for different cartoons, but it was
Right.
originally formed specifically for Ren and Stimpy, because it was really tricky for a lot of these studios. A lot of animation shipped to Korea, and a lot of the studios were having a hard time getting the Ren and Stimpy style. So eventually Chris Felice begged Nickelodeon, hey, let's create a dedicated studio just for Ren and Stimpy animation. And they now use it for a lot of different things. And I actually think I forget what cartoon, it's a modern cartoon, but I was watching it, and I was thinking to myself, so much of this, and you can say this about a lot of cartoons that kind of ripped off Ren and Stimpy, but the look of this cartoon and the animation felt very Ren and Stimpy. And then when I saw the credits, I saw the studio, and it was the same studio that was created for Ren and Stimpy.
I thought SpongeBob, because Dave said about that idea where you get like this regular animation, you get this sort of still, sort of close up, really heavily detailed image. I remember that about Ren and Stimpy. I remember that about Rocco. You also get that with SpongeBob as well. So
yeah,
that's why I
zoom in over.
Yeah, it's sort of zoom. Yeah. Like a highlight all the grossness kind of thing.
They would do a really detailed painting that showed the extremeness of certain scenes. Yeah, that was kind of a Ren and Stimpy trademark that really got adopted by a lot of. Which was actually interesting. What's interesting about those paintings is that was actually kind of ripped off from an old Bob Clampett cartoon. Chris Felice was a big Bob Clampett fan, and there was a Bob Clampett cartoon where there were a lot of those paintings that zoomed in. And that's sort of where that came from with Ren and Stimpy.
What did you think of the Adult Swim ones? Not Adult Swim.
Right.
Adult Party.
Adult Party, yes.
Yeah, what do you think of those?
I mean, I think he was obviously trying really hard to make Ren and Stimpy adult. And I think what made the cartoon so special originally was that it towed that balance. It was a kid's show ostensibly, but it really wasn't. It was an adult show masquerading as a kid's show.
Yeah.
But this was just an adult show, so it lost some of that charm. But the actual animation is amazing on that cartoon.
He's hitting heavy on his sort of Flash, wasn't he? Yeah.
But those cartoons get a lot of flack. But if you watch like Ren Seeks Help, I think that's one of the best Ren and Stimpy episodes ever. And that was one of the adult.
It was the frog over and over.
Yeah, it's when he goes. Ren does something so terrible that they won't even show it, and Stimpy's actually because Stimpy. The great thing about Stimpy is he would just keep taking it from Ren, but this was one time where Stimpy was actually upset, and so Ren actually seeks help from Mr. Horse, Dr. Mr. Horse, and it sort of goes back to why Ren is so crazy. Like a look at his childhood.
But he's absolutely murdering that frog.
Yeah, it's amazing. Which actually. That frog was the inspiration for the toad on CGR Undertow. A lot of the drawings I would do of the toad were based on that frog.
Oh, right. Interesting.
It's not quite the same thing, but it's one of my favorite possessions. But it comes back to like, in this case, late '80s and early '90s, which is stuff you wouldn't get now. But you don't get this in the States. I think they get it in Canada. The childhood comic I grew up with was something called the Beano, and Beano actually translates to Grand Day Out. And I just wrote to them one day, and the editor from the comic started writing back. And so I told him that my favourite character in the Beano was Ball Boy, who was a football player. And so he said, I just asked the artist to draw a picture for you and send it to you. You never get that now, and he sent me this.
Oh, that's amazing.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and it says, and you can actually see the pencil lines underneath the ink.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Oh.
And it says, today we do my greatest supporter, and then it's signed in the bottom left-hand corner.
I didn't know you had that, Dave. Blood, that's blinding.
The really sad thing is,
that is amazing.
and I've never said it, is he's passed away now, so it's worth. I mean, I don't mean this.
Can I say it again?
That's awesome.
Worth a fortune.
That's from the days when Ball Boy actually had good art.
That's the Ball Boy I remember.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, he's shit now.
That's beautifully done.
Looks awful now. Let's see if we can get a picture.
You would never get that now.
No,
I remember 2000.
That's $3,000 a bargain on that is.
Yeah, the 2000 AD, which was the home of Judge Dredd, actually used to say on the inside page, which was the letter page, where all the kids would write to the comic, and the editor was a pretend alien called Tharg, and it actually said at the bottom, write in by all means, but do not write in with questions because Tharg will not do your homework for you, meaning don't ask questions about how does the comic run and stuff like that. It was just, and I just thought that was a bit sad. Yeah, modern Ball Boy shit. Look at him. But I've had that. I must have had that for about. I don't know. Well, yeah, I'm old. 30 years.
Well, what's that? Yeah.
I don't know. His body's back to
remember
front.
what football team he plays for.
Oh no, I don't remember.
Manchester United.
Manchester.
Manchester. Oh.
Manchester.
And the other thing they
Manchester.
sent me was, and I couldn't do it because it was actually in Scotland at the time, and I was a kid, so how I was going to get there. I mean, they're like, what, 75 years old now? They sent me a printed invitation for their 50th birthday party because I wrote to the editor for a year, and they actually invited me, and I couldn't attend. And the invitation had everyone from the office in a cartoon form on it, and it got everyone from the office to sign their caricature.
That's brilliant. Was
That's
that in
that's actually framed and on the wall downstairs.
It's in Dundee, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where their offices were, wasn't it?
Yeah, Dundee. DC Comics.
That and the, yeah, DC, yeah.
It's weird. I think it started off because I used to collect Beano books, which is like the yearly hardback.
Yeah,
I used to get them all of them.
I got loads of them.
And they didn't. Originally, they didn't have the date or the year on the front, and so I bought a really old one from 1942, and I didn't know how old it was, so I literally just wrote to the Beano and said, "I bought this. Here's the description. What's on the cover? Can you please tell me how old it is for my collection?" And he sent me back a letter, and he listed every single Beano book that didn't have a date on it and a description of the cover. And then he said, "I'd love to hear from you again, Dave." So I wrote to him, and he was like a pen pal for a year. He just used to send me all kinds of cool shit in the mail.
That's
God,
really
yeah.
It's amazing how cool so many cartoonists are. I've been lucky enough to meet a couple, and they're just so many of them are just the coolest people. They're so down to earth.
You could argue that to some, and this is just the way I interpret it, but because they're a cartoonist, they've never lost track of that side of their childhood, if you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
So,
that's
Derek,
why when you see someone come along, they're more than happy to go out of the way and do something nice for them, because it's like that's who I was that long ago.
so Derek, what are your own favorite comics?
I was never really a comic guy as much as just TV animation. You know, I grew up. Growing up, especially in the early '90s, was a really good time to like cartoons because that's when.
You know what I'm asking, just because I'm old and bitter. How old are you?
I'm 31.
Oh, you said no. That must have a difference. When you say growing up in the early '90s, I'm just doing the maths in my head.
Yeah, it's not like you, Grandad.
But yeah, it was such a good time for cartoons because that's kind of when they moved on from the doldrums that they were in the '80s, and they kind of in the early '90s, and they kind of had that renaissance. So as a kid, I got to grow up with the Ren and Stimpies and the Roccos and the Twisted Tales of Felix the Cat and all these great cartoons at that time. And the great thing
and the
is
Amazing Spider-Man and the Amazing X-Men cartoons at the time that they've never come quite back to the dizzying highs of.
But the great thing is that back then you could still watch the old cartoons that those cartoons were inspired by. So I got to grow up watching Looney Tunes, which is still probably one of my favorite cartoons ever.
Tom and Jerry, please say you like Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry, the old Popeye cartoons.
Tom and Jerry, my all-time favourite.
Yeah, I mean, cartoons from the golden age of animation, like the 30s and 40s and 50s. That's when cartoons were really good. And
for
back
TV
then,
as well, because people forget that, you try and explain it to young people these days, that cartoons were just basically a 3-minute, mini-sode in front of whatever film or soap or, Buck Rogers that you were going to watch at theatres at the time.
Yeah, they were theater shorts, which means they also were animated a lot better. The animation in the Looney Tunes in particular is just the greatest animation. Some of those old Looney Tunes shorts that you'll ever see.
Fantastic. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
I always remember as a kid because the animation was so good, and when it got to the 70s, there was that dodgy period of Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
But I do remember when it was first done, when you had the bulldog bite down on Tom's arm, almost way up to his elbow, and he just went and all his teeth glaring. And even as a kid, he just went, "Oh my God, that looks so painful."
There's a massive difference when you watch the old school Tom and Jerry, even the dodgy 70s bit. When you watch the modern show, the animation is so bad compared to what it was then, and it's kind of because it's just convenience and quickness and laziness, isn't it?
Yeah.
Back then,
I think
they would take months and months to make something, and then nowadays they want to just bosh it out as quick as possible.
Some of these old Tom and Jerry cartoons they won't show these days due to the content, such as Tom getting pissed and smoking fags and all that.
Yeah.
And obviously the black housekeeper, because of the period it was set in when she was obviously their servant.
Thomas!
That's Mama.
I always find it really annoying that
What's her name? Mama Socks, Mama Ankles, or something like that.
The remastered Blu-ray edition in this country has those episodes cut and edited. And it's like, well, it's not really offensive if you think about it, because it's merely just a window into the time it was made.
It's a reflection of the time. It's a timepiece. It's a period piece, and that's
you don't
why
watch war movies from back in the day like World War II and just go, oh, these people are dying, we must edit it. Why is that history and stuff like Tom and Jerry not?
Right. And one of my favorite cartoons is it's an old Chuck Jones cartoon called Private Snafu, and what it was is it was made during the war. It was war propaganda. So there's a lot of stuff in there that's really like racist to the Japanese and I mean, yeah, there's stuff in there that's terrible, but it's so fascinating to watch culturally as like a timepiece and a look into what the culture was like at the time. And also, they're really funny. Like, if you can just laugh at things and not be offended all the time. Right.
So with stuff like that, they should put a disclaimer on the front of the box that just says, this is a piece from the period it was made in. No offense is duly intent. I mean, I don't think you should have to do that, but no offense is duly intent. This is merely a reflection of the time period. It should be considered history. Yeah. It shouldn't be butchered for future generations, because if anything, future generations may watch it and then suddenly get interested in some of the topics at the time and find out that there are all these divides, in standards and class systems. It shouldn't be something that's viewed as immediately negative and fear offensive. It should be something that's viewed with the right way of explaining it as something that can be an educational tool.
Yeah, well said.
You can get Private Snafu now on Blu-ray. I did not know that.
Yeah. There's a company called Thunderbean Animation that's reprinting them on Blu-ray, which I'm actually really excited about.
Yeah, I know one you're talking about. I didn't know it was on Blu-ray.
Yeah. They're great cartoons. They're amazing, and they're done by Chuck Jones from Looney Tunes and The Grinch.
Yeah, the classic.
Yeah, so they're really well done and really funny.
Do you know of the original Gulliver's Travels, the one that was like up against Disney when they first came about? I know we're like jumping quite far back now into the 30s, but it's one of the first ones that used rotoscoping, and it was fully just falls under the radar, doesn't it? I don't know if you know much about that, but I'm a little bit of a sucker for that film.
Oh, of course, yeah. Back then, the animation, the actual art of it was.
Did it, didn't they?
It was still important. The art of the animation. Now it's like, and I like The Simpsons. I don't want to knock The Simpsons, but it's like today's cartoons are inspired by cartoons where the animation's not really important. It's almost just like a sitcom that happens to be animated. So the actual art of the animation, the drawings themselves, don't have to be funny because it's more like it's scripted, like Seinfeld or something,
Well, I think we'll come out of the other side and experience a renaissance of the old style of.
It's functional
animation.
over.
It'll come round again.
Vision.
Sorry, what was that, Dave?
So I feel like The Simpsons, even though it's by no means terrible, because like you said, it's an episodic, basically an animated sitcom. The animation becomes somewhat functional as opposed to the vision of the people who are drawing it.
Right, exactly.
What we were alluding to earlier. It's characters, though, but after a while they've become stale.
Yeah.
And that's what it is now.
And that's, I think that's the main appeal of cartoons forever, is great characters. Like the old Hanna-Barbera, the early Hanna-Barbera stuff. It's fantastic. Beautiful. It's fantastic. And it's not particularly well animated. In fact, they took a lot of shortcuts to get it to kind of transition into television animation. But you can't watch the early Yogi Bears and the early Huckleberry Hound and it without loving them just because of the strength of the characters. So it all goes back to character.
One of the ones I used to really love were the early Disney shorts. They were really great as well.
They went like one of those, and you can find it on YouTube. One of those still gives me nightmares and gave me nightmares as a kid. Who remembers the Mickey Mouse one where he pushes his way? He's actually asleep. Sorry, people out there, spoilers. But you haven't seen it.
Spoilers for a cartoon that's 100 years old.
Pushes his way through the mirror in his on his wall, and everything is a reflection of his main room.
Yeah,
You think shit out of me when I was a kid.
My favourite one was
Magic Mirror, I think.
My favourite one was called Moving Day, when they've all got Goofy and Mickey and Donald have to move out because they're being evicted by the sheriff. You ever see that one?
And you know, back when Disney was doing those shorts, Mickey was more than just a logo. He was actually a character with a personality.
Yeah.
All those characters were. So that's what made those shorts so great, is not only just amazing animation, but also characters as opposed to brands, that they have to be very safe with Mickey now, you know?
Okay. So, actually, sorry, I'm going to move the conversation on slightly now because we've talked about
Do we have a
for
retro
quite a
smash,
while.
by the way?
No, unfortunately not. Unfortunately not. I can't even dig up old classic ones because I've archived them. But I want to move the conversation on just a little bit from cartoons to films and ask Derek, what are your own favourite longer form films, etc., be they animated or actual live action?
It's weird. I don't take movies as seriously as I take music and cartoons. So when I go to see a movie, I just want to have a good time. I don't really look at it like a film critic would. Like, is this well written and well performed? As long as I have fun at a movie, I'm kind of good, you know. So like I think my favorite movie of all time is like Ghostbusters.
Hey,
Man,
You know, Back
Good
to the
choice.
Future.
even better,
good
man.
choice.
Yes.
You know, these were movies that just movies that I also like movies I can watch a million times and still laugh and still have fun with. So like fun comedies that are like well done comedies, but Stripes. Like I'm a big Bill Murray
Oh,
fan.
your list is just appealing to me so much.
Yeah. So these are.
Do you like Trading Places, Derek?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Fantastic film, that is.
I think comedies from that era are so much more appealing than a lot of the modern comedies. Because back then, like, every comedic actor had his own kind of feel. Like, Bill Murray wasn't quite like Dan Aykroyd, wasn't quite like, they were all different, Eddie Murphy. But now...
If they did an ensemble cast, there were different personalities on the screen as opposed to what felt like scripted personalities.
Right. But now, if I watch a comedy, everyone has the same kind of delivery, where it's this awkward, like...
Yeah.
Like, all comedy is awkward now.
Or feral kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Back to the Future, I have to say to everyone, by the way, Back to the Future is my favourite movie of all time and has been, and how many people can get to say this, has been from the first time I saw it in the cinema.
Oh, you saw it in the
changed.
theater?
Well,
Yeah,
actually,
I'm old.
this is a long-running argument on RetroUnlim. We talk about this blasted movie every single show. So, Derek, I'm going to have to pose this question to you. What we always do with every new guest, it seems to happen. Please rank the Back to the Future films in order from best to worst.
Oh my God.
And did they, at the bit at the end, did they change from when you first saw them?
I think that would have to go in the order of their release. 1, 2, 3.
Whoa.
Ooh, is somebody clapping over there? Agree?
Is that the wrong answer?
I used to be 1, 2, 3, but then a few years ago I changed to 1, 3, 2.
Yeah, I'm 1,
Yeah, I'm the same as Dave. 1, 3, 2.
1, 3,
See,
2.
2, 1, 3 for me.
Oh, you like to?
Hang on a minute.
Yeah.
You can't. No, there's a given in this argument, right? Which is ultimately the debate is about between 2 and 3 places.
Exactly. Yeah.
All time ever.
1 is always 1.
Yeah.
To quote the movie, Mr. Latimer, what haven't you done in the future?
Because-
You turn into an ass.
Because in the second one, you've got a lot of elements responsible in it as well, and plus you get to see the future. You know, and
The second one's more of a remake
let
of
me-
the first one. To
Yeah, let me just rephrase this. So, see, the problem with that is, and I know, again, it comes back to what we said, I know taste is subjective, but I cannot but notice that Back to the Future 2 is not Back to the Future 1.
what's your point?
Just saying.
You can't argue with that, can you?
Undoubtedly, no.
No, after the future bit in 2, all it is just a remake of the first one, really.
It is, yeah. A reenactment, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think that's actually what I like about the second one, is that it's...
Oh, I don't hate it. I think it's a really, really great movie, but it's such a divisive topic when you talk about the 3 movies to put it in place that everyone has a different, feel on it. But at the same time, Back to the Future is an absolutely fantastic movie, and I get really upset that my parents conceived me on the 21st of October, on the 22nd of October, not the 21st of October, so I couldn't go Back to the Future Day.
A lot of people...
I think it's clever that they took... that first movie resonated with people so deeply. It's one of those movies that you memorize the scenes and the dialogue. And so when you see in the second movie those same scenes and dialogue from a different perspective...
Yes, that's what I'm getting at. Yeah.
It's kind of it's really cool. Like, oh, this is what was happening.
Ooh la la. Sorry.
Yeah, but like that whole, especially that scene where there's actually another Marty there.
Oh, yeah, that's brilliant.
It's just really cool.
That's exactly what I like about it, and Derek gets it. That's exactly why I like that one the most.
I think he took his wallet.
I think the reason why I like 3, because despite of that, I like 3 because it takes it in a different direction and it shows you something new, and that's what I like.
Character development.
Yeah, it's character development, and it shows you something new. It introduces a new character as well, and I think, and it's a completely different environment, alien environment, and I think that's why I like 3 more than I like 2. You see, do you understand where I'm coming from on that?
But like, I was like you, I agree. But I did actually prefer 2 for a bit, and then at some point, I don't know why, just one day watching it, it flipped.
I think
I will say this though, when you said, Derek, about watching something that you've watched a million times before, but you can still enjoy it. Are you like me, which is when you watch the original Back to the Future, you know exactly what's going to happen, but the clock sequence at the end is still really tense.
Yeah, I think.
And
that's
you know they're going to make it, but you still sit there thinking, oh, come on, come on, come on.
Oh,
I saw it in
absolutely.
Secret Cinema, and I saw that live. It was just so good.
Yeah, me too.
What? You saw it live? You actually saw it as they filmed it? That's incredible! Did you go back to the future to see it?
Yeah.
You even saw that bit where Larry points out where it goes from dry to wet, then dry, dry to wet, then dry.
And then the video gets taken down, and then what?
Yeah. My favourite bit about your when Larry pointed out the because I watched Back to the Future at least once a week and have done since I had it on VHS. But can't believe I never noticed this, which is when Strickland gives them a tardy slip, and you put that big arrow at the back that just says, "By the way, it's daylight." It's darkness outside. So technically, they're not late; they're early.
I don't think he's listening to us. He's near us.
He's listening to us from the future, but in the past, because remember, we're traveling back to the past for the
Someone
future.
use some sign language. Larry!
I got the Lego DeLorean last year, right? And for Christmas, and it says on the front of the box, only 400 pieces, ages 4 years and up. And I opened the box and just went, "Are you shitting me?" And I literally just went, "I can't do this." And my dad likes models, and so there you go, George, build me that. I'm not even gonna try.
And
I've
did
shown
he?
this off on a
Yep,
video.
and it's the most fragile thing ever. I need to get a glass display case for it because every time I pick it up, a piece falls off, and then it takes you an hour and a half with shaky, nervous hands to stick it back on. And every time you do, another 2 pieces fall off.
Okay.
See, that's what I would get.
My Lego DeLorean has a David Tennant Lego Doctor Who in it.
See, I would go that route. I would get the pre-made time machine that I don't have to mess with. That's well done.
I have that as well.
Model. It's a good model. It's not perfect, but it's a good model. It's nice from a distance.
That's the same one I've got, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the series, the 1, 2, and 3, but this is the 2 one. This is the Model 2 from the second movie.
Yeah, I'm a purist. I went for 1.
Yeah. And obviously, I've still got it in the box.
Yeah, I took mine out because mine's actually remote control.
So I'm curious. It sounded like you guys like Ghostbusters. Are you? What are the thoughts about this this new one that's coming?
Leave it alone. Not you, them. Leave it alone. Don't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and you get into these arguments. People say, "Are you sexist? Are you chauvinistic?" And you're like, "No, I'm not. It's just it was such a beloved part of people's childhood that to reboot it in such a way is not people saying like I have no problem with women in movies. It's just leave it alone."
I think it's also the fact that everybody's been asking for a Ghostbusters 3 for so long, and they just give us.
As far as I'm concerned, is the game.
Yeah.
It's not a women issue. It's a not Bill Murray, not Dan Aykroyd issue.
Exactly. Yes.
I don't care.
You know why I'm saying that? Because the minute you voice an opinion against it, everyone just jumps up and just goes, "Oh, you're a sexist prick."
Right. Well, it's 2015, and everyone's first instinct is to be offended by everything.
Yeah.
But, which is just, But, like, I don't know. I feel like a hypocrite in a way because I'm not very excited about the new Ghostbusters, but I love the new Jurassic Park. I love Jurassic World. So I was trying to think, like, what's the difference? Why is Ghostbusters different to me? And I really think it's that...
Over keen on Jurassic World, personally.
Yeah, we didn't like this last night, didn't we?
Yeah, don't be wrong. It's a good film. It is actually a good summer blockbuster film, and I'll tell you what. And I reckon the new Ghostbusters is going to be a good summer blockbuster. Even the new Terminator, they're all good films, but they're just not as good as the ones that we grew up with. And if they ever make another Bit to the Future or a remake of Back to the Future, it will never be.
I'll fucking kill them.
Yeah, but why? I mean, it's
Terminator Mega Drive.
The original films, aren't
They'll
you?
never make another Back to the Future. No way.
Yeah, I'm with John. John, we'll fight them.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, it doesn't matter.
Gail and Zemeckis have already said that they will make it sure that it will never be remade.
What I'm saying is, it wouldn't matter if it was, because it wouldn't ever take away from your original films. And with the Ghostbusters, there's just going to be new Ghostbusters films. These Ghostbusters films are going to have nothing to do with my original 2 movies. It's just like...
Yeah.
No, but if they're shit, then they sell and... Even though we still keep the stuff from our childhood, but if anything that is franchised and it sucks, does, it kind of, you're annoyed that stain exists out there when they never started in the first place because the first 2 movies are so wonderful.
Wouldn't it be like...
It took me a long time to get over the butthurt of them finally making a third and continuous Terminator movie, because I was so in love with 2. I used to think 2 was better than 1, then now I think 1's better than 2.
And now you think that 3 is better than 1 and 2 put together. Because it plainly is. Talk to the hand.
3, 4,
I love that scene. I don't hate Terminator 3, as we talked about in the previous stream last week, but... that scene where he talked to the hand and he puts the glasses on, even in the cinema when I watched it, it was like, oh god, someone just pissed on a small part of my childhood.
The third and the fourth ones aren't so good. I quite like the one that came out this year. So.
Yeah, there you go. It was okay. But we've already talked about this in the previous stream. I almost said
I do actually
earlier.
have to answer it really quickly.
I wasn't there.
I know, earlier. We weren't streaming earlier.
Do I like what?
Horror movies.
No, I'm actually a huge pussy.
Oh, I was going to ask you, it's my 4th favourite movie of all time. Do you not like American Werewolf in London?
Oh, I love that film. Sorry.
I don't handle being scared very well. I have a hard time discerning the film from reality. So if I watch a scary movie...
You must be able to handle being scared quite well, because we're all from Britain and we've got horrible teeth. Can you take that in?
It's the stream that makes them look better. Poor quality of it.
But I mean, there are a couple movies, like Alien is one of my favorite movies, and I guess it's kind of a horror movie, I guess.
Nice movie, yeah.
So, but I think my problem is slasher gore, watching people suffer, really bothers me on a visceral level.
I
guess we like it in this country because we suffer every day on a daily basis just with the British, so.
I agree with Derek on that. I don't enjoy. I think what you're saying is you don't enjoy watching that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It's not a pleasurable experience for me to watch someone being murdered. When
it comes to Alien, even though it's got probably one of the most famous gory scenes in it, with the chest burster.
Right.
Which they didn't know about around the outside of the table.
Spoilers. The popularity of the Saw films that everybody's got into.
Yeah, I don't get that. I don't get the popularity of the Saw films.
Torture porn. I
don't enjoy them.
Movie, but the rest of them just turned into torture porn tats.
Torture porn, yeah.
I think they've always been like that. Can't stand them.
They were just like TV shows, weren't they, really? It was just like every episode. They weren't good enough to be their own film. The first couple of Saw films were actually really good.
I watched the first 2 and it gave up.
But yeah, then they just carried on. It was almost like what you were watching, like CSI or something.
See Final Destination?
CSI torture porn.
CSI Manchester.
Final Destination is another one that got ridiculous.
Yeah.
I watched the first one.
What one?
Second one, and I thought, well, that's enough of that. That's it. I don't enjoy it. I don't want to watch it. That's it.
That's it. Yeah, and that's it for that. Because, guys, we're moving on to the last segment of this show. We're almost at closing time, but don't worry. We've still got a lot of juicy stuff to come yet. Because I am being told, Derek, that you are allowed to be unleashed. You're allowed to swear and curse as much as you want.
Okay, let's fucking do it then.
So do it, come on. You've got to insert the F word into every single sentence from now on. Can you do that for us?
I can fucking do that.
Yes!
Can we make a drinking game out of it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Well, every time Derek swears, people 2 fingers.
I'm being told I have to ask you for your favorite all-time video games and consoles.
Oh, fuck me.
He's doing it
Not
as well.
without 2 packets of pork scratchings, I won't.
Say the fucking
I'm happy
bit
at
2000.
Oh, shit.
Okay.
My
You don't
favorite...
You don't need to go overboard with it. You're not the console snob. I mean, Scott.
How about for consoles, GameCube, as weird as that sounds?
No, that doesn't sound weird at all.
No, the GameCube's got some absolute gems
Yeah.
on it. It's a wicked little console.
GameCube and Super Nintendo are probably my 2 favorite.
Yes.
And I would almost squeeze the Wii in there too.
Thank you.
Those 3 are sort of, for different reasons, the consoles that I've loved the most.
Nintendo.
Okay.
So it's all about Nintendo then.
So,
Yeah,
so
I'm
why-
So no Mega Drive or Genesis?
I was never a Sega guy. Which I actually think is really cool that back then you had consoles that were so radically different. Like, it's not like today where the Xbox and the PS4 are kind of the same thing with a couple different exclusives. The vibe of games on the Sega Genesis was so different from the vibe of games on the Super Nintendo. And growing up with the Super Nintendo, I remember one Christmas when I was a kid, I got a Sega Genesis for Christmas, and I was actually mad. As a little kid, I didn't want it. And
I guess that year you were naughty and Santa punished you.
Exactly, yeah. But I never got into the Sega thing, that the attitude and the shooters and I don't know, it was just never, I preferred the cartoony
Does anyone
Nintendo.
mind if I tell Derek the reason I started a YouTube channel? Because I know you all know it, but he doesn't.
Go on.
I got old and I had a midlife crisis, and when I was a kid, I remember when they announced that the Mega Drive was coming out, and it said it's not going to come to England for like 18 months, and even as like a 11-year-old, 12-year-old, I'm like, God damn it, I won't wait for this. So I got like 3 part-time jobs and saved and imported one from Japan, and bought nothing but Japanese games until it got released in the UK, and then when it got released in the UK, still bought Japanese games apart from the odd, PAL one, because they had dual ROMs on at the time, so I could buy a PAL one and I would still get the NTSC version. And when I had my midlife crisis, I decided that I was going to rebuy a Japanese Mega Drive and recreate my entire childhood game collection, and I've done it now, and that was my birth of my channel.
Oh, you've done it.
That's awesome.
Oh, you've done it. How many games were in that collection?
Well, I don't know. I guess I've just proved the fact that you don't watch my play videos, do you?
Be that as it may, there may be many people out there, including Derek, who might like to know.
It's about 58, I think.
Wow.
I have a few outside of that I've simply bought because I've seen them in the wild in like charity shops and stuff like that I bought because I knew it was a good game I never played. But the majority of my collection is basically 58, and it's all the Japanese games I had as a kid. And unfortunately, I had to buy my copy of Moonwalker after Michael Jackson passed away, and that cost me a box complete, cost me quite a bit of money.
Ooh.
I remember.
So, go on.
Go on, I was just to say my Sega memory. I remember I was all about the Amstrad.
Yeah.
And, I finally.
The neutral kids at school, the neutral kids.
Oh, hail the Amstrad, you will die, Spectrum fans.
Derek, there's this thing in this country, right? The Commodore 64 and the Spectrum were like head-to-head, and the Amstrad competed with them, but for some reason, they never got involved in the arguments when you're in your playground at school going like, yeah, I got a Spectrum, I got a better sprite definition than you. Yeah, well, I got a Commodore 64, I got the SID chip, and then you just went, what's he got? He's got an Amstrad. Yeah, he's neutral. Just go and stand
Yeah,
in the
right. It's like the Switzerland of consoles.
Yeah. I've actually got a question regarding that, Derek. Did you ever review a game for the Amstrad, the Commodore, or the Spectrum?
I basically, any console pre-NES was Mark's purview. I think I reviewed one Intellivision game one time, and that was Mark's territory. So I never really was able to do anything like that.
Oh, dude, seriously, if you're ever bored, look up a movie called Bedrooms to Billions.
Yeah, do.
And it's the entire history of British gaming pre-console, and it's amazing because
Hang on. I have an issue with Bedrooms to Billions. It does not.
You're not in it very much.
It does not mention Amstrad enough. So therefore, Derek, if you want a proper, complete view of this evening, you watch Dave's channel, my channel, and Slope's channel, and then you got it. All right? That's it.
And Larry. And Larry.
Larry?
Yeah.
And mine.
Sorry, I forgot Larry was still here.
So I went to this big fireworks display and it had a massive Sega bus promoting the new Mega Drive, and it was all Moonwalker games, Chuck Rock games, and the entire top half was nothing but Sonic 1. And I went up there and I finally played on the Mega Drive for the very first time, and I was so blown away by it. And I remember my granddad come and see what I was playing, and I'd got all these rings, and I got to the end of the level. You know, we got the big old ring spinning around at the end, and I just ran straight underneath it. And my granddad was like, "Aren't you supposed to jump in that big ring?" Shut up, Granddad, you don't know nothing about games.
I remember that bus. They were doing a tournament. There's a Windsor Safari Park, and they were doing a tournament on Thunderblade and a Master System. And I beat everybody in the bus and won a pair of Sega shoelaces.
Do you still have those?
Do you remember the old do me a favour, plug me into a Sega adverts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I actually won a jumper from Sega Power Master System magazine with that on the back. And this is funny, Derek, right? I did a competition where you had to design a peripheral for the Sega Master System, and Larry had the magazine where I came third and scanned it in and sent it to me, and it made my fucking day.
Did you lose your copy then, or?
Yeah.
Oh.
It was just amazing to see it again. It was like, fucking 10-year-old Dave.
Oh, I remember the person who won. He won a chocolate biscuit dispenser. Didn't
and they redrew his bloody thing.
A chocolate biscuit dispenser? What an awful thing! Can you just go and get a biscuit from the packet?
It's obviously not every time you get a high score, it shoots out a biscuit at you.
Well done. Just well
The
done.
people of the magazine actually said, this picture was so bad, but we loved the idea so much we redrew it for him. I call inside information right there. That's bullshit.
Funniest thing is, I actually stole that thing from another competition that done exactly the same thing. It didn't even get anywhere.
That's because they didn't redraw it for you.
Oh, okay. That is a shame.
Well.
And allegedly, the greatest thing I did ever was, again, Derek, allegedly is the term we chuck around so we don't get sued. Back in the day, I wanted a Master System converter because obviously, even though the Japanese Mega Drive had the lockout arm, it was useless, and you could just put English games in it and American games in it, and it would run it. And I want a Master System converter to play the games I didn't sell when I sold my Master System to part fund my Mega Drive. So I wrote a letter to Richard Branson, the owner of Virgin, who were the initial people to distribute the Mega Drive and its peripherals in his country, and said something along the lines of, because it was Christmas, "Dear Richard Branson, it's so cold, and what with my father working away this year on an oil rig, we're not going to have a day of Christmas. Is there any chance I could buy a Master System converter at cost?" And then a week later, I got a phone call, and I thought they were taking the piss, and then I realized that they weren't when I got it in the mail, and they said, like, "Can I speak to David Wade?" I went, "Yes, speaking." Go, Mr. Branson has read your letter, and he was so moved that he's decided to send you a Master System converter, but he just needs to know, it is a UK Mega Drive and not a Japanese one, isn't it? And I went, "Oh yeah, definitely. And so a week after that, I got a Master System converter in the post. Hell, man. You know what the worst bit is?
No.
I sold it with my Master System games so I could play Forgotten Worlds. But anyway, Richard Branson, that was all allegedly, and allegedly, thank you very much.
Allegedly, yes. Allegedly.
Your Beano and your bloody Richard Branson, you're a jammy git.
I think he sent it to me because I didn't point out the fact that his cross-globe balloon challenge failed, as did his boat challenge.
And also he had to have his foreskin cut off because he was allergic to his wife's vagina.
What? You just made that up. Yeah, you just made that up. What is it?
I dab, I'm not. Have
I got
Have you ever noticed, that you never see Richard Branson or Noah Edmonds in the same room at the same time? Just saying.
Or Ted DiBiase.
Yeah. Money.
Right, guys, it's time for a retro roundtable, that old favourite. We've not seen it.
I have to vacate.
Oh, Chris, we're so sorry to see you leave.
Yeah. It's time to go for me, I'm afraid.
Bye.
Yes,
I'll
once again,
send you a message next time we do Slamcast, by the way.
once again,
Yes,
Chris.
You yourself as well, Derek. You're more than welcome to be on there to talk wrestling.
Yeah, it was a pleasure. It was a pleasure, absolutely.
Nice to talk to you, Derek. Cheers.
You
Yeah,
should
you too.
What's going on with your screen, Yak?
What?
He can't operate his keyboard properly because he's got hoofs.
I'm just seeing quite a lot of Paul scratchings there.
Anyway,
That's been there for ages.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year, Chris.
Happy New Year,
Talk
Chris.
soon.
Bye-bye.
And I'll talk to you all soon. Okay.
Right, guys, it's time.
you wanna ask,
for the return.
Oh, okay.
It's time. Okay, guys, it's time for the return of an old favourite. It is Retro Roundtable. We've not seen it for a few shows, but it's making a very welcome, or unwelcome, as the case may be, a return here on New Year's Day.
I love the way you roll your R's, by the way. Sorry.
Roll my R's. Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Living in
for that.
Wales.
Yes. But this is a slightly different Retro Roundtable because we've got a special guest in the stream. Each person that is left in the stream is going to direct exactly one question at our guest, Mr. Derek, formerly of CGR Undertow, and he must answer it. He's got as much time as he needs to answer it, but you each get one question, and we can go off at tangents, but that's hard and fast. It must be one question each. So, does anybody have any questions for our special guests?
I'll go first.
Oh, please, John, do.
Derek, hi.
Hi.
Hi. How long does it take you to make an average review? How long do you spend on playing the game and editing the videos?
So, at Classic Game Room, we had a pretty demanding schedule of uploads. I had to do. I mean, there was a time when I was expected to do like 10 videos a week. So,
fuck.
yeah.
So that's 2 videos a day, then.
Right. Yeah. Basically. I eventually kind of got that scaled down, but even toward the end of it.
And you, like you said, you scripted them all, so.
Correct. So it was a lot of work. Yeah.
Oh my God, you're Shakespeare.
Yeah, it was a lot of work. Eventually, at the end, it was like I got it down to 8. But even that, I mean, reviewing 8 games a week is pretty ridiculous.
That's a Beatles song, isn't it? 8 games a week. Sorry, go on.
Yeah.
Because you just spend the time to review a game. You surely need to spend the time playing the game to an extent.
I mean, I would at work like at least 8 hours a day at the office, and in that time, I mean, I guess you could say 4 to 5 hours of video to get each one. Well, the nice thing though is that.
Oh my God, your editing must have been an absolute nightmare.
Well, so the good thing is that for most of the run at Classic Game Room, I didn't edit my videos. We had an editor.
Right.
Yeah, so I was responsible for recording, writing, capturing, filming, basically doing everything except putting it together. And then I would send all the scripting and everything to the editor, who would then put it all together. That way it took some of the burden off me a little bit.
Is it safe to say then that in the early days you may have got slightly frustrated with the fact that what we talked about earlier on, when people were like, oh, it's not Mark, it's not fair, and it was to some degree, do you ever feel like, well, I don't think you understand how much effort, I mean, I like doing it, but how much effort is going into this? That's to sit there and put one dumb comment in my comment section.
It was immensely frustrating at times because I think people didn't realize how much work we did and how hard we worked.
Well, I think it's safe to say as well, based on this talking to you, which is, and now it makes perfect sense, but it's just, when you look upon something from the other side, you don't necessarily see what's involved, which is, I never perceived it as a job. I thought it was something you did outside of another job. I never realized it was your main job.
Yeah, it was my career for 6 years. So yeah, it's how I paid my rent. And don't get me wrong, it was fun. There's like this negative connotation when I tell people, oh, it was just my job. Oh, you weren't doing it for fun, for the spirit of video games.
I wasn't thinking that.
Fucking sellout.
Right, exactly. But it's like, I did it. I didn't do it for fun. I did it because I've got responsibilities, and it was. But that's not to say. Exactly. I was fortunate to have a job that was fun. I wasn't just doing it for fun.
God, I miss those
That's what
jobs.
frustrates me about people, non-YouTube makers that watch your videos. They don't realise how much effort goes into it. Even as shite as my videos are, I still put a lot of bloody effort in it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like my retro video game comparisons I do, which, you know, their production value is crap compared to anyone else. But when you have to compare a single game across 5-6 platforms, and then put, you know, you talking about it in front of it and after it, even with my shit, because I use Windows Movie Maker because I'm a cheap bastard. But people don't realize that when they go like, oh, this is shit, you should have done this, you should have done that. It still takes, like, I think the last one I did, my Street Fighter 2 one, Super Street Fighter 2 one, took about 6 hours of editing.
Yeah. For a
And it was
5-minute
all
video.
about, actually, in my case, it was all like, 'cause my internet is shit, it was all about trimming off anything that wasn't relevant to keep the size as small as I possibly could.
And we're doing it in our spare time as well, because we've got full-time jobs, you know. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess this ties into what I would say is my question, of the one question that we're allowed each. And that is regarding the team at CGR. And did you have a person who dealt with the promo and marketing and things like that? Or did you get stuck into that yourself?
No, that was, I mean, basically my only job there was to create the videos. Any big picture decisions I wasn't really involved in. You know, I mean, because if it were up to me, I wouldn't have been doing that many videos. I would have been doing a lot less videos and spending a lot more time on them. But you know, that wasn't my decision to make. So yeah, marketing and things like that. We had people taking care of that. In fact, I didn't even communicate with like the gaming companies who would send us games and stuff, PR people. That we had people who took care of all that. I just kind of did what I did. You know, what you saw on cameras is pretty much what I did there. You know.
Okay. So who were your best friends?
This isn't my question, by the way, but I have to ask since now I know it was a business. Did CGR have a vending machine?
I wish we had a vending machine. We had no vending machine.
Derek, who were your best friends at CGR?
That's 2 questions. Steve.
It links in with the previous.
I don't know. I mean, we all got along pretty well on the Undertow side. You know,
Did you go to the pub and get pissed out your face together?
No, a couple times.
Just checking.
I mean, I think because it was so much work, a lot of us didn't really become friends. It was kind of like we would talk at work and that was about it. But we were all pretty
there was
friendly.
no malice. It was just your workload kind of was a natural separation. That makes sense.
Yeah, I think so. But I mean, yeah, I'm still in contact with pretty much everyone who worked there. Brandon was a great guy. He was our editor, and he appeared on camera a couple times, especially on Mark's channel. There's a bunch of great people who worked behind the scenes there that were all really talented. And yeah, we got along pretty well with everyone. I never really had a problem with anyone who was there, but I also didn't really like. Part of that's me is I kind of keep to myself. But yeah, I wouldn't say that we became best friends or anything, but we all got along real well at Classic Game Room. It was a nice.
There was a family relationship structure and such then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I've used up my question, but I've got one here from Stephen, Mr. RetroUnlim, who is asking, who are your... Sorry.
If you could watch any football team in the world, would it be Liverpool FC? That's what he wants to ask. Let's be honest.
Have you got any good classic game room stories to tell?
Oh, God. Someone told me that I should write try to collect all these stories that people would be really interested because there's so many, but it's hard to even know where to begin.
Did you ever prank each other? That's not my question, by the way, Yak. Sorry.
A lot of
He says that at the end of all his questions.
I'm allowed to. I'm freebasing.
I think one of the fun things was not know, like I would show up there and not have any idea what would happen that day. You know, like there were days I would show up and Mark would have a camera in his hand and say, "I need you to pretend you're dead for something." I was like, okay. So like those were the days that I remember the most and that I'll miss the most. I really wish. I think the one regret I have is that we didn't, because our schedules were so demanding, we didn't have time to collaborate on as much as I would have liked. A lot of it was just you doing your thing, and if you collaborated, it wasn't a great environment for that, unfortunately. Which maybe that's why we didn't like pal around all that much, because we had so much work to do. But I mean, yeah, Classic Game Room was just a bizarre place sometimes. Bizarre in good ways, bizarre in bad ways. But yeah, it was definitely an experience. It wasn't what people think it is.
I guess, like you said, because I didn't realize it, and now it makes perfect sense when you said earlier on, but obviously it was a business, so I guess to some degree clowning around wouldn't be in there because you all had deadlines to work to and you all had content that you were committed to making, so therefore that kind of removed some level of cocking about, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, I had people making sure every day that I was getting my quotas met, you know, which it was very, very...
Which you would have done far better if they bought you a vending machine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I think one of the things that I didn't like about Classic Game Room is that it was run by business people, not necessarily people. So the decisions they were making from the business end weren't always conducive to the creative end. That made it kind of difficult sometimes to be creative, or to be as creative as you'd like to be.
Guys in suits, Barry, I'm overgeneralizing, but guys in suits who are technically removed from the end product.
Yeah. And again, I loved my time there, and I'm super grateful for everything. But yeah, when you're working, you're creating content for people who don't necessarily get the content. Really, does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. It can be very difficult sometimes. So there were a lot of stories on that end, and I'm sure if you talk to anyone who worked there, they would have stories like that, the frustrations. But there were also a lot of fun times, especially when it was just like us and Mark kind of working on things and bringing ideas, like a lot of the ideas he had. When we did get to collaborate on things, it was a lot of fun. So.
Okay. Excellent. So, Dave, was that your question, or...?
No, can you save me to the end, because I got a piss on board that I'll drown a donkey.
I'm not sure what you just said then, but
yes. Whiz.
Okay, fair enough. So, does anybody else wants to jump in here?
What channels? I know we've already sort of half spoke about it, but what sort of channels are influencing yourself there?
On like YouTube channels?
Mm.
I mean, it sounds like a cop-out answer, but I didn't watch any. Zero.
Do you now, or?
No, not really.
No.
I mean, I would go to Classic Game Room, make videos, and be so wrapped up in our channel that I didn't, and I think part of it too is I didn't want to be influenced by other stuff.
The old Elvis thing.
Yeah. I just wanted to go in knowing what I wanted to make, not necessarily what people expected me to make, and I think that's some of the videos that we did that were really, really weird. I'm glad they turned out the way they did because they were so different from other stuff on YouTube. So it wasn't like a deliberate, I don't know, I just didn't have a lot of time to watch other stuff, but I also didn't really have... And it's not even just YouTube, but gaming in general. Like when I was done at Classic Game Room and I came home, I kind of unplugged from gaming. I kind of left it at work, if that makes sense.
Sure. I mean, that's with actually playing as well, I take it.
Oh, totally. And that's a lot of people I know who are really into gaming always say, "Oh, I wish I could do what you did for a living." And I always tell them, be very careful about that because gaming will become work. And when it's work, it's not the hobby. And you kind of lose that personal.
Yes.
I used to get so excited about E3, and I would sit there and stream it and get so excited about these announcements. But now, I can't remember the last time I had that personal excitement over gaming because it becomes that 9-to-5 kind of grind. And when I left Classic Game Room at the end of the day, the last thing I wanted to do was go home and play more video games. It was kind of like. So yeah, and unfortunately that includes YouTube. I kind of unplugged from it all after the day.
You don't think you'll be carrying on with it, or?
What's that?
You don't think you'll be trying to carry on with like how you was actually doing it?
I don't know. I think I'm going to take some time away from YouTube. I may I may go back because I know a lot of people have asked me to keep doing videos, and I like doing them. It's a lot of fun. But yeah, I kind of need to decompress from maybe the grind of Classic Game Room and kind of, you know.
But now that you've left, you might actually be able to go back and enjoy games the way you used to.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I'm excited to, because when you do it for a living, you don't have a choice really in what you play all the time. It's hey, you've got to get this many reviews done, so you don't really have the luxury of playing what you want to play. You have to play everything. And that's why, like on CGR Undertow, a lot of people sometimes would say, why are you reviewing all these lousy like shovelware games? Part of it is it's like there's only so many video games out there, and I have to get videos done. But also, I kind of use that to our advantage. I kind of turned that into shtick too. Like we're reviewing lousy games, and it's driving me insane. So I was able to work it into shtick a little bit. But yeah, when you have to, you know, when you have quotas and things, and you got to get a certain amount of videos done for the audience, it's like, yeah, I'll Ice Age for the Wii, I'll review it, bring it on, you know. So you know, it's like, yeah.
Braver man than I am.
But I'm looking forward to like playing the games that I want to play again, and not having to deal with all the crap as much.
I can relate to that because last year I made so many videos, I was putting them out every day, and I got to the point I wasn't actually playing games. This year I've taken a step back, I've not made as much videos, and I'm just enjoying sitting playing games.
Yeah.
So I can totally relate to that myself.
And I mean, it's a shame that you've lost, you know, what was your main income because of, you know, market forces is too strong a descriptive term, but to some degree, from what you're saying, is there kind of a little bit of respite, which is you can take your foot off the gas and just drift back a little bit?
Yeah, it's been full speed ahead at CGR Undertow for a long time. It was a lot of work, which is a good thing. I mean, it kept us busy, and I always tell people, I think we posted more reviews over the last 6 years than like anybody. I mean, the sheer amount of videos we put out was staggering. And I'm kind of proud that I was able to make it through, because a lot of people couldn't. I think a lot of people that we brought in didn't anticipate that and had a hard time dealing with it. And sort of the last one standing, because we had other people on Undertow that grind really wore on them.
Hey, it's a healthy thing to put on your resume, though.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
No, you know what? I look back at the time there with nothing but positive. I mean, there were frustrations, but I mean that's going to be.
But that's any job, though, isn't it?
Any job. Yep, any job, and mine were minor compared to what other people at their shitty jobs have to deal with. So I am so thrilled that I had the opportunity to do it. And to this day, it's so weird. I'll be out in public and someone will notice me. Like I went to a sandwich shop on the corner, and the cashier was an Undertow fan, and I walked in and he freaked out. Yeah, I got like hooked up, and it's just like things like that happen all the time, and I don't know. It's weird to me because I'm just this guy. But I was able to.
Like they put 4 olives on his sandwich, Dave.
Exactly.
Lucky bastard! I had to pay 50p for my extra one.
But no, getting to do anything where you touch anyone is such a privilege, and it was the honor and privilege of my life to work there. It was awesome.
So here's a question. I know I've already asked one, but this is pretty big.
At least one.
Is there any... I know. Bending the rules. So is there any reason why CGR Undertow can't continue on YouTube with its current fan base of about 150k, which is quite a lot?
Yeah. You know, that's another business thing. I don't own it. A lot of people have asked, why don't you just keep doing videos on it? I don't own CGR Undertow. The company does. And
oh, right.
So it's not my channel.
So it comes back to blokes in suits then?
Yes, I get. Yeah.
Did you get to keep the 100,000 subscriber award?
Yeah, I wish there was such a thing.
There is. I've got one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I never.
They've lied to you.
Yeah, they've lied to me. No, I wish I could continue and just take the channel, but it's not. You know, it's a property that's owned by someone that I just worked there, so it's not mine.
Because you're being, you know, you understand and appreciate. You're being respectful, and that's
yeah. No,
that's the thing.
No, I'm not bitter at all. I understand.
Oh no, I'm not saying you were. I'm just saying you're being respectful of the subject matter.
Yeah. It's I totally get it. It's not. You know, they did me enough favors by letting me live this kind of dream for 6 years that I'm okay with them keeping the, you know, it's a business, and it was everything that happened, the things happening with Classic Game Room are all business decisions. So there's no hard feelings or anything at all.
Okay. I was a bit naughty there and asked an extra question, but I'm aware we've got 2 people who have yet to ask one. So, who wants to go first, Larry or Lawn Boy?
Larry's going first.
Uh,
He's more articulate than I am.
I'll have to have Did you have any problems reviewing games that were completely average? Just nothing good or bad about them, they were just average.
Those are the hardest games to review. I loved, my favorite games to review were the really, really bad ones. Because you had a million things you could say about them, and you could also get really creative with them because no one gave a shit about those games. So if really bad games were fun to review because I could just go crazy with them, like the Super Slam Hunting. No one gives a shit about that game, so I could do something really creative with it, plus it's just a lousy hunting game. And the great games are fun to review too because there's so much good to say about them. But it's the ones in the middle, and it's what I found is like 90% of the gaming industry is just these vanilla games in the middle that are the same 5 genres, just recycled over and over. And that's it. That's what keeps it going. And reviewing those games is just a nightmare sometimes because there's nothing bad about them, but there's nothing good or exceptional. They're just another average video game. And yeah, those are the hardest ones to review. I give me a million Barbie games before I would review one like average video game. I hated doing that.
Now remember, the rules being set by Steve Benway. If you're going to review a game on Barbie, make sure you get drunk first. Views guaranteed.
Here's the crazy thing. I'm actually straight edge. I don't drink at all. So I did everything sober at Classic Game Room. Everything.
So I would hope so, young man. It's your job. Sorry, Patrick.
Well, Mark was drunk most of the time, and it was his job, so... Classic Game Room was very lax with their being intoxicated at work policy.
What about caffeine? Are you a coffee drinker?
Oh, I run on caffeine, yeah. Yeah, caffeine's okay.
Okay.
Well, you have to, don't you? Red Bull and coffee.
I don't know how anyone couldn't, yeah, the way that the world works today. The lives we've
changed. I cane Diet Coke and Pepsi Max in the videos where I'm not actually drinking, simply because, I don't know, being wired gives you an edge.
But you never drink warm Marmite.
Sorry, my mustache got caught in my beer can then. That really hurt.
You
I tried it, but you can't make a drink out of my... This is going to go completely over Derek's head. You see, right, we have another spread in this country. Oh my god, he's just thinking England's a land of disgusting spreads. We have another spread called Bovril, which is, well, now it's vegetarian, but it used to be bovine extract. That sounds terrible. That sounds like I stole a cow's... But you can actually put a teaspoon of it in a cup of hot water and make a nice soup, which is bollocks. But I tried, Larry. I tried to see if you could replicate that with Marmite. And
you guys eat the strangest things. It's
can I just say, it's English. The Scottish people are normal.
It comes from the war. We never quite got past World War II, which is
Scottish is worse. You just eat everything English. Just batter
it. So
although
never quite got past that.
I have to say, one of my favorite restaurants in my city is it's called the Pub Chip Shop, and it's an English takeaway shop. I don't know how authentic
fish and chips.
But it's like fish and chips and like little like pies with like meat pies and like sausage rolls and things like that.
That's pretty authentic to me.
Yeah, it's actually one of my favorite spots in the city. So.
I had a friend come over from the US a couple of months ago, and she said out of all the English food that she ate over here, the thing she loved the most was fried bread.
Oh, I had that for the first time since I was a kid the other day. Because I needed somebody soak up the bacon fat when I was making my bacon sandwich with eggs, and I forgot how good fried bread is, especially when you cut a hole in the middle and then crack an egg into it. Ooh.
Yes.
Eggy bread.
Are you on about
French toast?
French toast, yeah.
No, French toast is powdered though, isn't it?
No, French toast is eggy bread.
There's like egg and yeah.
Okay.
Made famous in this country by Stephen Fry in the movie V for Vendetta. Sorry.
What's your favourite snack while reviewing? There you go. What's a
You stole my bloody question, you wanker. Just imagine I said that. But I get a second question now, you prick.
Okay, I'm gonna allow this.
So I actually would go through like bags of sunflower seeds at classic.
I love
games.
sunflower seeds.
Yeah, which I think kind of grossed some people out because I'd be spitting seeds out all day. But yeah, I don't know. There's something about like chewing on sunflower seeds at work.
They're quite peanutty, aren't they, in taste? As well,
yeah, salty.
You're lucky,
like,
Derek,
salty
because my
shell.
snacking choice is crisps or chips, so I have to have a part of moisty naps.
Yeah.
So every time, because I usually eat them when I'm playing, you know, like the topic, but every time I eat a bag of crisps, I have to take a moisty nap out and wipe my fingers so I don't get what we like to call furry control pad syndrome.
Right, and
When
since
you
we
just
were
got fucking crisp and chips stuck over your fucking dual analog.
Yeah. And since we shared all the controllers and stuff at work and all the keyboards and everything, sunflower seeds were a good snack because I wasn't getting the orange stuff everywhere, like, you know, with chips and stuff.
Well, this is not my question, but because you said that, I have to say, I'm allowed two, Larry, because you stole mine, you prick.
Here's the question: do you have these in the US? There's a combination of all the different things.
Oh,
They've
I
got
love
Doritos,
those. I love
Monster
those
Munch.
so much.
I don't know
French
what that
fries.
is. I've got to come to England. This looks like a
it's a-
fascinating place.
Because it's a
Dude,
British
I
name
tell
for
you what,
Lay's.
right?
It's
And
Lay's
it's,
in America.
Yeah, and they got it's like Doritos in the bag.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's 5 different varieties of crisps that are all the same flavour made by the same company stuck in one bag.
So yeah, here's a Monster Munch.
Oh, see, I've got to
You can
come
watch
to.
it.
You'd like Monster Munch, man. It's quite
There's
unique.
a Dorito.
Dude, you've not come to England, so you can walk down the crisp aisle in a supermarket and shit your pants and just say, Jesus Christ, why does North America not get anywhere near the number of chips that it uses? And also, second of all, why isn't everyone in England fat?
Dave, why are you not fat about the shit you eat? See,
That's the best question of the night.
see Dave's Facebook page every morning. It's all this shite that he makes. And I don't know why he's not fat.
I work nights, Derek, so I do this thing which is technically it's my evening meal, but I have it when I come home in the morning, and I always try to do an interesting breakfast. Not for people to watch when I post a picture of it on Facebook, but for just to try and, you know, make something nice for myself. So some of my breakfasts have been insane, and my last one I did this week was pigs in blanket sandwich.
It's a sausage
It was.
roll sandwich.
I'm not gonna lie. It was pretty fucking good.
Wonderful. I'm going to cut in here, actually, before Dave asks his proper question, because we have a question from a man who is not here again. This is the consul. No, I mean, Scott Bailey, the formerly known as the consul.
No, Scott. No. What's it now? I forget his new name.
Scott's reviews or something.
Yes, Scott's
That's-
Game
yeah.
Reviews, SGR.
Sorry, Scott. I watched that video. I just forgot your name.
Yes, he's called SGR now, which is basically a big rip-off of you-know-what, CGR.
Oh,
But he asks this. You don't have to answer this if you don't wish. But he asks, Derek, are you single?
I'm actually.
I think Scott wants to date you.
yeah.
That's a personal question, isn't it?
That's
I'm
what he
actually,
says.
I'm actually married.
Oh,
Oh, poor old Scott's upset now.
So, sorry.
He's married to his profession.
Is your spouse, your bird, there?
I don't know. Is she here? Steph, are you here? Yeah, she's here.
There's a bunch of insane English people and Scottish bloke who want to talk to you. Come and
You wanna-
look and laugh at them because they're all
you
clearly
wanna-
retarded.
You want to meet some weird English people who eat strange things?
And Scottish.
I'd Scottish. Yeah.
Anna Scott. You've seen Braveheart.
Yeah, but he's
We
not
are-
Scottish.
She'd rather not, but she says hi, everyone.
Hello.
Card number.
It's alright. We're not
Happy
going to
New Year. Happy New Year.
They said Happy New Year, Steph. Because today's the New Year. Why aren't we out?
We got no money.
No money, no life.
He's a very naughty boy.
Attached to gamers and stuff, and it's funny because when you said that, and part of me, you know, not being horrible, was in that, which is, you know, like, oh, he's a gamer, he does these amazing reviews and stuff like that, and they go, you're married, and just went, That's half your fan base right then, just going. All right, well that means every insult I want to use, I can't use anymore.
Yeah.
So Dave,
it's weird.
So asking personal questions now, are we?
Yeah,
What's your
apparently.
credit card number?
Yes.
And can you please also, when you tell us, flip it to the back and read the 3-digit number on the back, because otherwise we can't steal it.
Look, like I said, you guys.
We can use it on Amazon. They don't use that, the 3-digit.
I don't know how valuable my credit card is right now.
He's unemployed.
It's not valuable mine. Mine's maxed out thanks to bloody Christmas.
Thanks to Marmite.
Do you know what? Actually, you know what? Do you know what thing that broke my Larry? Do you know what thing that broke my balance? And so I immediately had to transfer some of my bank account money into my credit card. I'm not joking. The thing that broke my credit card limit was that custom jar of Marmite.
Well, why'd you pay £8 for it and just print it off a label?
It's got my bloody name on the front. And you know what the worst thing is?
Just
I can't leave it out in the house anywhere because they'll ignore the fact that it says Lawn Boy on the front and just go, oh, it's Marmite. And then break into it. I'm like, no.
Dave.
I don't care that it's going to go off. It stays in the jar forever.
Dave, dude, you're ranting. Listen, Dave, I believe you have a question to ask Mr. Derek.
Yes, it's a really boring question, but it's just me being a petrol head and I'm
What's
just
your
curious.
favourite food?
I don't know if you, but you might eat food with petrol on or gas on, Larry. I don't. What's your favourite dream car?
Spicy.
Like movies,
What's your favourite
anything.
Dreamcast?
Dream car.
The pink Hello Kitty edition.
Dream car.
I thought he said Dreamcast.
Anything, any car from any walk of life, be it Ferrari, Lamborghini, any car from a movie. If someone said, hey, I've got a one-shot deal, I'm going to buy the car of your dreams, and it can be anything. It could even be from a cartoon. It could be from Jason the Wheeled Warriors, if you want. You really look like Shark 16 right now.
Let me think. If it's a fictional car, it would be the DeLorean. Which isn't fictional, so that doesn't make any sense. Yeah. The time machine would be that, but real car probably I really like I'm not a big car guy like Mark is, but I really liked the Chevys from the 50s, these old kind of.
Oh, the big ones with the wings at the back and the grill that would kill someone if you hit them at a crossing.
Like the car that they would drive in Greece. That's the car that I would want.
They're built like a tank.
Yeah.
More cars need people that can sit 3 people on the front seat.
That's what I want. And I want to drive it to a malt shop where there's girls in poodle skirts.
Roller skates.
Yeah.
And I've earned a second question.
What's your favourite food?
What's your favourite? We call them crisps, but what's your favourite chip flavour?
It's actually food.
I like salt and vinegar, very bitter. I think it's one of the reasons I like fish and chips so much is I'll just douse the shit with vinegar.
Yeah.
You don't have cheese and onion in America, do you, as a flavour?
I don't know, maybe.
Because that's the most popular flavour over here.
Because it's the best.
It is.
Yeah, it's weird because it's the flavour everyone hates as a kid, but as an adult they kind of come back.
What are you talking about?
That's me and my car friends.
Cheese and onions nice in bread.
Well, there's some. We have cheese in. Yeah, I think we have that. I just always go straight to the.
Do you ever make crisp sarnies?
Yeah. Was that a question to Derek? Was that your question?
Nobody cared what you think.
I've got an extra one. But Derek, do you ever make crisp sarnies?
Potato chip sandwiches.
No. That's a thing.
Get on that, trust me.
Yeah.
The minute you take a bite, you'll say
British food again.
Cheers, Dave, and I'll say you're welcome. Shut up, Larry. They're amazing.
I have salted crisps with salad cream in a sandwich sometimes.
Pickled onion Marmite. Pickled onion monster sandwiches are fucking
Monster
vinegar or cheese and onion.
Wait. So is that Monster the energy drink pickled onion flavour?
Well, I don't know. Do they make a pickled onion flavour from that? Because quite frankly, the thing tastes like piss anyway. So if they did, it'd probably be an improvement.
You don't like Monster Munch?
No, he was talking about Monster.
Yes, Monster the energy drink. We're going off on weird.
Anything that
tangents.
smells of chemicals and white spirits.
I
when
didn't
you
go
open
to
the ring pool. I can't drink.
I didn't want to go to the loo, so I actually weed in that.
Just now, you mean?
Yeah, that's piss.
You better be lying,
dear.
dude.
How the fuck did you get your
guys.
willy in that hole?
look at this image. Look at this guy. He's totally erect. He's been on the stream for 6 hours. He's peeing in bottles. It's New Year's Day.
In his defense, one piss over 6 hours is quite impressive.
Yeah, man.
Well, hold on a minute. No, not 6 hours. It's only been 2 hours. Yes, sorry.
How did you
I
have
tell you what,
the-
Derek, I will send you. I will film a clip of me walking down the crisp aisle in a British supermarket, so you can just literally see the end of it and just go, "God damn it, it's not fair." Trust me.
So, right, one more question. It's going to come from me. Derek, what's your favourite food?
Yeah. No, there shouldn't be a question. It should be an apology. Derek,
We've got a
sorry.
video game podcast, and all you do is asking questions about food.
Well, I mean, not.
Who's
I mean,
your favourite chef?
fish and chips is one of my favorite foods, but I'm really into like Mexican. I like Mexican food,
Nice.
Brilliant.
like enchiladas.
We only have 3 Taco Bells in the UK.
I wouldn't call Taco Bell Mexican.
Oh.
That's like
One of the
Taco
funniest
Bell-
things I ever saw on YouTube was when
Emphasis
they
on
took
the
a
bell.
bunch of real Mexicans, you know, actually in Mexico and imported Taco Bell to
Yeah.
them and made
Yeah.
them eat it, and they were absolutely disgusted. by
it's
it.
really, it's
I
pretty
saw it.
bad. Yeah, it's rough. But I don't know how. Listening to the food and the weird things you guys eat, it's like you guys know I have like.
Why
a
are we
weird-
still alive?
No, you like I have this weird thing with Emma Watson. I don't know how something so beautiful could have come from a land where you guys eat like.
Actually,
You don't have a pickled egg with your fish and chips.
can we get Emma Watson back on
Pickled
this
onion.
stream? Is there any chance?
Get out of here! You didn't
Yeah.
have Emma Watson on the stream.
Is there any chance we could get Emma Watson back on the stream now? Because I believe she was on the last stream at the end.
And I have a question for her, actually.
Yes.
I have
What's your favourite? Oh, my
so many questions. Yeah, what's your favorite food?
No, I was just going to ask her why she married Ron Burgundy.
Did she?
Because clearly she was punching below her weight.
Did she really?
Sorry, people, spoilers. Not in real life, you moron.
Derek, if you think the food that English people eat is weird, see in Scotland we eat Mars bar.
Yeah, Derek, they deep fat fry and chippy.
I
Mars
love
No,
deep
yes,
fried Mars bars.
at the takeaway shop here in the city, they do deep fried Mars bars.
Yay!
I like
Hey.
deep fried pre-mix as well.
Yeah, but what is a Mars bar in America? Because a Milky Way is a Mars bar in America.
No, Milky Way is a Three Musketeers.
No, Three Musketeers. No,
Oh my
you're
word.
right. Yeah, Three Musketeers is
The old
Oh,
Marmite,
it's
the old
confusing.
Milky Way.
Yo, a Milky Way is not a Milky Way in America. A Milky Way is
Goodness.
completely different in the UK.
The old
See,
the old
It is.
Milky Way is the Three Musketeers.
It's horrible because I don't beg or anything like that, but I get lots of my American subscribers send me, or this is going to completely ruin this, and because I give them all to my family. Lots of my American subscribers and Canadian subscribers send me North American candy, and I don't have the heart to tell them that I have no sweet tooth whatsoever. So my twin brother and my older brother always come up to me and just go, "What food did you get off YouTube recently?" When there it is, help yourself.
I don't want to fill my mouth with your American filth.
No, I just don't like chocolate or ice cream. I remember telling someone at work when I didn't like ice cream, she actually did the cross of Jesus across her chest. Was that offended? What do you mean you don't like ice cream?
Okay, I think I've been to Europe a couple times, and every time I'm there, you guys have way better candy than we do in the States.
Yeah,
Like,
you haven't sussed out chocolate yet.
Well, it's quite weird because we've been importing Twinkies lately as well. So
Oh yeah.
Oh,
what everybody's into at the moment.
There's a shop downtown in my country, an import shop, and I mean I don't like sweet food, so I can't buy it. But I did actually look at it and just went, well, fuck me sideways and call me Susan. You can actually go to a shop that imports moon pies right now.
Just wagon wheels.
Right. So everybody send Dave all your sweet stuff. He loves it. Just
just
send it through to
foreign
him now.
chips.
Okay.
Hold on, send me a sweet stuff. I have got a sweet tooth.
I used to work in an ice cream factory back in the day, and I almost died there.
Well, I'm sure that's a story for another day. It may involve, if it involves
Was it
blowjobs,
trying to give a blowjob to a rat and then...
Right, okay, I think you're taking random parts of the story there, Larry, and turning it into your own story.
guys, I
Oh, is that what they
believe.
call technically frosting? Dan?
Oh, guys,
Sorry.
Guys, I believe that is our cue to wrap up this particular show because it's getting really, really blue now. And I'm sure you all want to go finish the beer that you've had sitting in the kitchen for the last, sorry, not 6 hours, 2 hours.
I'm going to play Mario Maker. That's how I roll.
drinking this.
I'm going to go fucking bed.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea because it's been a long one. So, it only remains for me to thank Derek, who's unfortunately... Oh, he's back. Sorry. I thought he'd gone. But he's here. Yes, thank you very much. Oh, who's this? Hold on.
Does your wife mind you having a cardboard cutout of Hermione in your house?
I don't think she really... I mean, she's had to deal with a lot of things to be married to me. This is just another thing. So
it's not like Family Guy when you bang her in the shower, right?
Well, I think when I try to introduce her to the bedroom, that's when it'll be an issue.
Why do you have that cut out?
Why wouldn't I?
Good counter. Good counter.
Does she play with your wand when she can't find hers?
I'd rather not go into details on the wand playing, but yeah, it's very...
Well, Derek...
I feel my mudblood, baby.
Well, Emma, and well, Derek, I'd like to thank you for joining us on this stream tonight, and I'd also like to thank you for the, 5-6 years of content that you've put out on YouTube.
You know, it's her. Like,
hopefully,
you know.
yes, hopefully, I hope you will come back one day and return to YouTube and revisit those glory days of CGI Undertow under a new name, most likely.
I do too, because even though you have to go to new greener pastures and stuff like that, it would be a shame to lose you from YouTube completely, because lots of us really, really enjoy your content.
Yes. I really, really appreciate that, you guys, and I'm sure I'll end up doing some video stuff. I'm sure. So.
Okay, and whatever you choose to do in the future, we wish you the best of luck with it. Be that videos, writing, whatever. Good luck.
Thank you very much, and thanks so much for having me, you guys. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you for being on. Seriously.
Yeah, no. I learned a lot about England and
how fucked up this nation is,
and crisp sandwiches.
How obsessed with food we are.
You guys seem like a jolly lot. Is that an English thing to say? Jolly lot.
Yes. Hip hip.
You ever drag your ass to the pub? Or, you've dragged your ass to the UK in this country. We'll all get together and we'll get you absolutely bollocksed on ourselves.
Pork scratchings.
You think we eat weird food? Wait till you see some of our fucking drinks.
Oh, Jesus.
Can I interest you in a drink that's alcoholic, that's served at room temperature?
What is it with Europe and serving everything at room temperature? What is that about?
We do have fridges as well.
Because it's so fucking cold here, we don't need fridges.
Oh, the other side of that is we're so fucking cheap. Running a fridge is quite expensive. So just drink your fucking alcohol, room temperature, and be thankful, young man.
Right, Derek, we have a tune to play you out with.
Oh, great! What is it?
Well, you'll hear it in just a minute when my iPhone works, which it isn't at the moment.
Plug there.
Your video will play after this ad. Oh.
Dogs have always had subtle little ways of telling you when something's wrong. It's not that.
That's my favourite song, now.
Developed Dentastix. Just one chew a day could help reduce tartar build-up by up to 80%, reducing the risk of gum disease, letting him get on with the reason.
Hey, gum disease.
It's ironic that everyone thinks people in England have bad teeth, and he's playing a commercial about something that fixes them.
Gum disease is no joke, you guys.
Yes.
Hey, copyright strike.
I do content panorama.
Yes, keep talking. Talk over it.
I can't talk over panorama.
What's your favourite chocolate, Derek?
No, it's not. It's obviously Bananarama.
Banana.
Last question, Derek. What's your favourite war and why?
My word.
I'm not gonna lie. I have a pick through World War II.
I'm a fan of any war review.
I'm a fan of Star Wars.
Oh, we nearly went the whole stream without saying it.
What was that?
Oh, bollocks. Oh, shit.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about the Falklands War instead.
I actually quite like the Falklands War. I mean, oh, that sounds terrible.
I believe we've beat you guys in a war.
I didn't record it.
See, Derek, we won this whole podcast and now I'm bitter. We let you beat me. Because, you know, we thought, actually, that's quite a good thing. Because you have a team to the harbour, so at least this is not, you know,
Sorry, I don't know this bit.
It's a remix.
It's a long song, isn't it?
It's a crap song.
Everybody dance.
You should have played Electric Green. Look at Hermione rocking out.
You'll be right, Stra.
It's alright, we just let Banana Ramos slap an advert on it. We'll have it. Who turned into a cat?
Is this song ever end?
At least learning the lyrics isn't too taxing.
Right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for RetroUnlim Live 49. The next one is the Big 5-0, and we're going to have a big celebration, including...
Happy New Year, everyone.
Yes, Happy New Year. And maybe, just maybe, Harry Yak will appear for the first ever time.
Not the first time.
Well, on one of these streams anyway.
What will Wigan think?
Wigan doesn't care. Because Wigan doesn't have the internet. Right, thank you very much, everybody, and join us again next time. Or else we're sending Derek and Emma Watson round to get ya.
Well, you can send Emma. Derek, you can have a pint with me, but if you send Emma around, I'm going to need at least 15 minutes.
Oh, come on, Dave, we know how you swing.
Dave, it's a cardboard cutout. What are you saying?
I've seen Family Guy. There's a way to make this relationship work.
And look, she's 14. Right,
Not anymore.
Right, that's enough of
He
this.
doesn't need to hear this.
That's enough of this. It's time to say goodbye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Sayonara.
Bye-bye.
Happy New Year.